So, Dave.
Yes.
Yes. You remember I hit a pothole. I didn't hit a pothole. I hit a crater. Like, you remember the crater that was left when the dinosaurs died from the asteroid hitting? This was bigger. It literally...
So you're subscribing to the asteroid theory?
I mean, yeah. I don't know.
What grounds do you have for that?
Just that...
Where's the crater?
It's in Mexico.
You hit it with your car?
I hit it something bigger with my car.
The dinosaur asteroid killing?
It was more evil. Yeah, it almost killed my car. My
car
is stronger than a dinosaur, though.
Maybe not a meteor.
Whatever.
Or a meteorite.
No, I don't know. I think a meteorite is small, and a meteor is huge.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's our show.
I think it has to do like lava and magma, like it's when it's outside of our solar system. It's a right. I don't know if that's a correct analogy.
Who knows?
We're 1 minute in, we're off the rails.
Yeah. Where were we going anyway? It's not like we're at a like brewery or
There's
something.
There's a destination.
We got nothing.
There is a destination. The destination is Jackson, Troy. It's in Lansingburg. You gotta go over and talk to James.
Wait, right now?
We're not right this second.
All right.
Whenever you have body damage done to your car, because I hit that crater.
Oh, but
the exit
okay,
24
that's
tolls
right.
used to be.
We were going somewhere with this.
And I dented my rim and egged my tire. Do you know what? I mean, obviously, you know.
Egged your tire?
Egged my tire. Egged.
The tire or the rim?
The tire. It got a big egg in the side of it.
Really?
It bulged right out.
So what do you do?
You go to James over at Jackson, Troy.
And then what, do they replace the tire or do they fix it?
Actually, he didn't do anything. What he did is he got underneath my car and it's like, you need a mechanic. You don't need a body shop. There's nothing I can do for you. But has some scratches in my front bumper. He's like, I asked how much it would cost to fix that. He's like, pull around back. And guy just buffed him right out. Just gone. He's like, these will be here forever unless I repaint it. He buffed it so good you can't even see it no more. And on top of it, he did it for free. He did a free look at my car, and then he buffed out the scratches on my car for free. And then he told me what mechanic to go to. And they fixed my car because it was a mechanical issue and not a body issue. But I heard good things about Jack and went down, or James over at Jack's in Troy, talked to him, and he lives up to his reputation. So anybody who has any body work, go over to Jack's in Lansingburg. His phone number is 518-235-2422. 518-235-2422, and that's at 366 Fifth Ave, Troy, New York, 12182. So in this episode, we're welcoming back a friend of ours, somebody who I consider to be a honorary member of the show. He has his own podcast now called Big Blue State of Mind. Kevin is coming back to our show, and that's all coming up in the next few seconds.
The Capital Brew Podcast with 20 North Dave and Nick Lee. What's brewing in the 518?
Kevin,
What's happening?
it's great to have you back, man.
It's great to be
been,
here.
what, a year almost?
No, it's probably been about
9 months.
It
Yeah,
was
probably
pretty
about 9
warm
months.
when we did it, so it
Yeah.
was definitely summertime.
Yeah, I went on a little bit of a health kick.
Nice.
And so gave up drinking for a little bit just for health reasons, and
Quitter.
lost a few pounds. What was it
Yeah, you
like?
look great.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was the that Fat Shits Anonymous meetings has really been helping out. So it's a tough program. I mean, it's not 12 steps; it's more like 10,000, 10,000 a day. But I'm back and feeling good, and ready to hang with you guys again. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad. Like I said, you were always welcome. Even when you were on your health kick, we've actually had guests before that have been on our show that are also staying healthy, not drinking, not doing anything, but came onto the show and still. So anytime you go on another health kick, you're always welcome to be on here.
Yeah, it's just moderation. You know what I mean? Like the being in the bar industry for so long, and eating the food that we do and everything like that, you tend to pack on the pounds. So, I have a lovely, beautiful wife who is a beach body coach. Nice. And a top tier one. So, just trying to stay healthy for her, healthy for the kids, the whole thing, and we won't. Well, that's enough of the health talk. So, let's get to the fun stuff.
Which was
again,
over
right.
tonight. We ate like champions.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
can barely even sit here.
The lovely Jen cooked a feast for us. So
Yeah, it was
thank
a
you,
lot of
thank you,
food.
Jen, for that.
Yeah,
That was
Jen,
awesome.
that was awesome. It was great.
That was awesome.
We had chicken. We had not ribs. We had
Pork
chops.
chops.
Yeah.
I mean,
We had cheese curds.
yeah.
We had a salad.
There
I'm
was
sorry.
a salad there, but I'm not sure I even saw it.
To the beautiful Jessica that's listening, I ate nothing but hummus and salad with fruit and
Right.
vegetables. I'm not drinking any
Sometimes
beer.
you got to spoil. You got to spoil yourself. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Not like give you guys food when we were over at my place?
Bro, every time we come here, you've got food.
That's how we roll.
Well, I was happy to see a nice spread here, so thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. I figured you hadn't eaten yet.
No.
Figured you guys got right out of work. And I actually called Nick and said, don't eat.
Yes.
Because I knew we were going to have a bunch of food. We had to have a bunch left over, so
Well, it's
might
funny.
have to take some home.
I text Kevin. I was like, Dave doesn't want us to eat. And he's like, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then you text me, like, I don't know, like maybe 15 minutes after I text Kevin. And Kevin, or you were like, tell Kevin not to eat too. I was like, we're already done.
Yeah, I was a little late on that, but I was doing other stuff, and I totally forgot about it. It happens.
So I was listening a few weeks back, and I heard the Whiskey Pickle episode, and immediately smiled because I actually met them.
James and Aaron.
A few months back, I had a whiskey neon on sale that I stumbled into, which is a funny story how I got it.
I got excited. I thought that was a drink for a second. I was like,
Whiskey
he's
neon?
been there.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a drink. It wouldn't surprise me. Yes.
Yeah, it could be. So I had this, during COVID, the wife made me clean out the basement of all the beer paraphernalia, and I threw some stuff out, but I had some stuff there that was really nice. You don't see many whiskey or bourbon neons very often.
Definitely not.
Yeah, you don't. So
It's mostly all beer.
Right. So I was actually at a golf tournament a few years back with, it was the Kings and City Tavern golf tournament up in Saratoga. It was at Boston Lake Country Club, and this is around 2016. And those guys are good friends of mine, great guys. The Fitch brothers are just class acts, top guys. You guys got to go there, track season, something like that, and hang out with those guys because, they know what it's about. You talk craft beer, they've got the bars, with Saratoga City Tavern as far as that goes. So shout out to them.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we can probably manage that.
Yeah, they're definitely worth stopping by and meeting. And they got some beards that would rival yours, Dave. So especially Jay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think you guys would just
I don't know if it's not really a contest.
it could be one of those stepbrothers moments. That I just right.
I did go to high school with those guys, but they're
The Fitch boys.
Yeah, they're significantly younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was long gone. I'm pretty sure when they were in school.
Oh, interesting. So anyway, their golf tournament, I was golfing with somebody we were just recently talking about, a fellow bartender. I won't, mention his name, but I do a pretty good impression of him. Okay.
Yeah.
So my buddy, my pal, was golfing with us, and we were driving around having a great old time, and got a little bit tipsy, and a window was broken in the clubhouse, and we had a few too many that day. So when the auction time came around for the prizes, they had some great prizes. They had liquor bottles, they had golf bags, they had everything you can think of, and they had this whiskey neon, which I had my eye on right from the start because you don't see them at all, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. I got my raffle tickets. I'm waiting to get called, right? Now my buddy is sitting there. He's got his hand on his chin. He's passed out cold, okay? We're all eating our dinner. He is out cold. He's snoring. It's like we couldn't believe that his head didn't hit the table, okay? So all of a sudden, they call it a number. He comes to. He looks at the ticket. He goes, "That's my ticket. Winner."
Yeah.
Just like that, right? So I'm like, shit, he's going to go grab that neon because he was looking at it too. Well, he totally forgot about it. He grabbed a bottle of booze, the first one he saw. It might have been like Cruzan coconut rum or something,
Jesus.
right?
Yeah, terrible.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Comes back, puts the bottle down, puts his hand on his chin, and goes right back to sleep. The next number called is my number. I go and I grab the neon.
Yeah.
So I got the neon I wanted. So anyway, the neon sits in my basement. It's never used. You know what I mean? My dreams of opening up my own bar and hanging it somewhere, or having, we got a new house, and I never really built a man cave that I wanted to. So my wife's like, "Will you please get rid of this thing?" I'm like, "Fine." So I throw it up for like $150, $200 or something like that on the thing, and I get a hit from
Aaron and James.
Yeah, from Aaron and James. And I go and I sell it to them, and I meet them in Crossgate's parking lot. And they're like, "Yeah, it's going." They were real excited about it. I said, "Yeah, it's going up in a bar." I'm like, "Oh, what's the bar?" Like the Whiskey Pickle in Troy. I'm like, "Awesome." I was like, as soon as I fall off the wagon, I'm gonna, I'm gonna come check you guys out. And then I hear you guys with the, the podcast. I'm like, "Oh my God, small world, right?"
Yeah.
So
those guys are my neighbors.
Is it fall off the wagon or fall? Is it?
No, it's fall. Do you know the origins of that?
No, I don't. I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
All right, so I looked this up a long time ago. Of course, I know the stupid trivia,
I knew you would. That's why I
right?
asked.
So back in the 19th century, there was a lot of dusty roads, Okay.
Yes.
Not the wrestler, just actual dusty roads. Okay. So they had
Sorry.
wagons with water on them, and they would water the streets. So when someone was, getting too much into the bottle, they would talk about jumping on the wagon to dry out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop drinking and just drink water. So that was the saying, to jump on the wagon. And when they started drinking again, to fall off the wagon. So it goes back to that. And it's not as interesting as you would say, you would think, but it's pretty obvious, right?
But it's nice to know. Most people can't get it right. Was it a Seinfeld episode that they talked about that?
Yeah, he got it backwards, right?
Right, you got it backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, well now we know for the
right, for the heckler.
however many listeners are out there.
Exactly.
Now lesson time. It'll be on the quiz.
Yeah. So again, kudos to you guys, because I think you have definitely hit your stride with the podcast.
Awesome, appreciate it.
And definitely that was a fun one. And then last week with the cigars, I don't smoke, but I listened to that whole thing.
You learn,
and you learn a lot. And I didn't know that there was that much that went into cigars.
Did you know there was a wine cooler of cigars?
Well, I am as guilty as anybody of drinking twisted teas and the occasional seltzer and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
As big of a beer geek as I am, I still partake in the occasional wine cooler. So, listen.
Well, where did you find them? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I've been looking around.
For what?
They don't like real wine coolers.
I don't think they make.
I don't think that
the flavored malt. My beer industry. The flavored malt beverage.
Yes. Like a twisted tea.
Yes, a twisted tea, right. All the Zimas and Smirnoff Ices, and it's...
Which you don't see anymore.
Right, and it's just taken such a big...
Seltzer took over.
Yeah, seltzer took over. Yeah, and you see they're saturating... Now, the beer business is just saturated in seltzers, because Bud Light's got one, Coors Light's got one, Corona's got one.
Everybody.
Right.
And this
All the
summer, it
major
seems like wine in a can is like the way to go this summer.
And now
So,
is that it? Wine in the can? Is that the next thing now?
Maybe we should... Well, maybe we should... buy the rights to the old wine coolers and start. Look at it. Like Nick and I were talking.
Well, let's
Nick and I were talking earlier in the week
Willis?
about Bruce Willis. I'm like, if anybody out there is listening, that's on YouTube. Just like YouTube, Bruce Willis, like Seagram's Golden wine cooler commercial.
Right.
I wish I'd have told you this, Kevin, before we started, because Nick showed me this commercial. If Bruce Willis, if he's not dead of shame, I'm totally shocked. Wait until
Time
you
buried these.
wait
Very good.
until you see it. He's like in one of those white Don Johnson outfits.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like a
does he
white,
have hair or does he not have hair?
full hair, full head
hair.
of hair.
Really?
He's
This is
singing.
moonlighting Bruce Willis in this commercial?
I'm not joking. I wish you had.
Well, you've seen the music video.
I wish you
the
had
song,
seen
right?
it. I know. Well, okay. I was asking Nick. I didn't look it up because I was lazy. But he had like an alter ego, right? And he was in a band.
Well, he was in a band. I mean,
it was his band.
Yeah, it was his band. He had a music video. I couldn't tell you what it was,
but he's
dancing around with a pool stick or something.
Yes, and
right.
he had a different name. Like he used
Donnie
like
Dangerously.
No, it might have been like Bruno. I'm telling you, it might have been like Bruno. And
You shouldn't hang me on a hook, Johnny.
once.
Once. My mother.
I
had me
mean,
once.
those of you need to look at it. It's like he's in like a Don Johnson style outfit. He's actually skipping and dancing, like this is not an exaggeration.
Great.
This is a choreographed dance.
Yeah.
And he's like linking arms with like these 80s hair women, and they're all dancing and singing about Seagram's Golden.
Wow.
It's amazing. Like I looked at it, I go, is that really Bruce Willis?
He's
I'm
also
like,
got a blues one,
This
too.
is a yes.
Replace
This is
the
a guy.
harmonica?
Yes,
Yes.
this is a guy who like kind of like was like a bad tough guy. This and that. I'm like, if he looked at that, I would burn every copy I could find. I was just it's horrible. Like for those of you listening, like I said, I recommend for a great laugh at Bruce Willis's expense, which I firmly believe he deserves. Watch this video. I don't know. Post something on the Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
About how terrible it is.
That is oof.
Like in an
Maybe I'll post
era
it.
where everybody's getting busted for what they did as young people. He deserves it.
Yeah, maybe I'll post something on our Facebook and have people comment.
I don't know. If you watch it, you're just going to be crying. It's so funny.
I got to check that out.
Well, to change up gears a little bit, you were talking about falling
Sorry.
off the wagon. No, that's fine. That's great. But and also in the same vein as the whiskey pickle, as you've seen the other day, I went. Jess and I on Sunday decided to go take a tour of the Gilded Age set in Troy, and the roads are all covered in dirt. There's like the storefronts are all painted. There's old clothes in the things. There's these huge like light rigs just sitting in the middle of the road and all kinds of stuff.
I drove by that the other day. We were delivering ice cream in that area, and all the roads were, cornered off. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, they filled the roads with dirt.
They brought in truckloads of dirt.
Yeah,
and dumped it out.
Yeah,
Figured just.
And there's horse and buggies.
Just don't clean the roads for a couple of weeks.
You just beat me to that.
Figured you can save yourself the expense.
So
we're moving to actual business. Oh, the boring part of this job.
The boring part, the actual drinking of it. So anyway, I want to just thank you guys again for inviting me originally to the podcast, because you kind of sparked a little bit of fire, and I found out that I really like to hear myself talk, and it's kind of ridiculous, but no,
that's dangerous.
Yeah. But actually, after the first podcast you guys did, my friend Eric Master Giovanni, he heard it, and he was thinking about doing some kind of podcast, and he had a little like app on his phone, that he was looking at, right? And he's like, "Hey, listen, do you want to do something?" He's like, "You sounded good," and I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "I hate to listen to myself. I still don't listen to myself at all." But he sounded good. He's like, "We should do something together." I was like, "Yeah, what should we do?" So we started coming up with ideas. Like, I love bar banter.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. It's like, let's talk, bar talk. I love the sports debates. I love talking about, hey, who's the greatest athlete of all time? Just throw it out there. Who's better, this or that? Give me your, best quarterbacks of all time. Whatever it is, But you talk about movies, 80s movies, everything. So we're just throwing all these ideas, and we couldn't nail anything down. She was like, let's just do debates. I'll take one side, you take the other side. He's like, we'll call ourselves the Master Debaters. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And
you're learning. That was good.
Right. And luckily enough,
sounds perfect.
we both went to the wives.
Name-wise.
Yeah, we both went to the wives, and they both nixed
the
that.
Big veto. They exercised their veto power.
Yeah, they vetoed us, definitely.
Wow.
And
2 for 2.
Yeah, good job.
Might have been a little early for the applause for you.
I was excited.
I think you might have jumped the gun there. We'll see.
Eric's big, thoughts about merchandising and all that other stuff, getting T-shirts made of Kevin is my favorite master debater, and Eric, all this other stuff. So
there's no shortage of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we had the idea, the bug to do something, along those lines of a podcast, and we're kicking around for a long time, and we're both big Giants fans, and then our friend Johnny Palmieri. He's a huge Giants fan. He used to run Recovery Sports Grills as their sports information director. So he'd be in charge of getting Byron Hunt or Joe Morris or, Doc Gooden or Keith Hernandez or any of these guys for like signings at some of the branches. So he's got, those kind of, and he's a Giants and Mets fan, which I am as well, which we're kind of,
So is Dave.
It's kind of, yes, exactly.
Tough.
It's kind of an
tough.
odd combination.
Unless you're a Yankees fan.
But
definitely a Yankees fan.
But he definitely has the bug for Giant stuff, and he's a guy that he would host with Roger Weiland and Byron Hunt, draft day, broadcast and everything like that through the radio station, everything like that. So he's really into it. He's in the college end of it, so he's got the knowledge. Eric's a really passionate fan, and he's definitely well-spoken, takes his time in the research. And me, I'm just that knee-jerk idiot that just, tries to get my 2 cents into. I love it. I love to watch the game. I'm an X's and O's guy. I used to play. I used to coach a little bit. And I just love the game, So that was just finally we found a topic that we could just kind of all just agree on and do that. So it's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate, all that. For you guys getting me into that. And, we're definitely going to have you on the show because you're a Giants fan.
Hell yeah. Can I have
And, maybe we'll have you on. We'll talk about Plaxico Burress or something like that, since you're still
I
a
think
fan.
so.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to a beer because
I love beer.
Well,
I like beer.
This is a beer that I found. I'm a big Founders fan. I sampled you guys on Founders Backwoods Bastard, which is a whiskey
and didn't they do
Scotch
the
ale.
all-day IPA?
They did do an all-day IPA,
Right? That
correct?
was the one with the bus. No. Yeah, it had it has
Flower Power? Was that the one with the bus?
The all-day IPA, I think, had like an old VW bus on it or something like that.
No, I don't think so.
It's something on it. Whatever.
I'm not sure, but
maybe
anyway,
it did.
We digress.
Which one? Flower Power had.
a bus on it. Oh God, I don't even like the label. The All Day doesn't have the bus on it. But I
think
know what
Flower
you're talking
Power
about.
does.
There's another one that does.
I think it's Flower Power.
Right. But that's an Ithaca beer anyway. So, all right. So anyway, when I was going to the Bev Center, we're going to do our first practice podcast. We had one thing. We're just going to test out the equipment. Nick gave me some great suggestions on equipment. So I went Founders, and just one of the first beers I found was 4 Giants IPA. So Giants
right.
podcast. This is a beer that I randomly stumbled across. Nothing to do with the New York Giants. And I love that somebody said, a couple weeks ago, it's like, oh, is it about like Paul Bunyan and other real Giants or whatever? I thought that was hysterical. And
It's not
the whiskey
right?
pickle. It's not.
Okay.
No, it's about like the New York
Careful, you're spilling
football
a little
Giants. So here you go. Here's a little sample of this. This is a big IPA, obviously from Founders.
What's the relevance to the 4 Giants then? Now that you
Yeah, I really don't know. I'll be honest with you.
come on,
I think it's a blend of their IPAs. It's 9.2% alcohol. There's no story on this one. I'm sure there's a story behind it, but I did try it and I was a fan of it. So
it must be more than just an IPA to be 9.2.
yeah, it's
Is
definitely
it
a blend
double,
of what they have. So
possibly a double.
yeah, 9.2% alcohol. You're
Oh,
looking
it's
at
an
definitely-
imperial.
Yeah.
Okay, which I think an
Imperial's
imperial
double.
is
Yeah.
all automatically
Yeah.
is
Automatically double.
a
right.
double. Yeah. See, that's our little beer knowledge. I think it was in this book right here.
Listen,
I actually like
yes,
this.
that's right.
The Bible.
The Bible.
It was the Bible.
Right when I got to Dave's house, I was pleasantly surprised to see when I went to the bathroom that the tasting beer book that I lent him almost a year ago is still intact.
Yes, I didn't destroy it.
He loves that
The
book.
Bible was on the throne.
He loves it.
So
I mean, I'm telling you, like if you want to know anything about brewing beer, even if you just want information, if you're not even going to do it yourself, the tasting beer book by was it Randy? Is it say Mosher?
Randy Mosher, yeah.
Randy Mosher.
Yep. It's well known in the beer industry. Everybody knows
it's
that
not
book.
gonna
Yeah.
it's not going to give you like the recipe
Mm-hmm.
necessarily to like make your own beer, but it gives you all the basic knowledge to either brew your own beer or learn about
it's
brewing
basically
beer.
just an information guide on the process. There's not recipes or stuff like that in it, but there might be recipes.
There might be actually.
There might be actually.
But
at some point.
I don't think it's something
Right.
that you use as a
Yeah.
as your recipe
It's
guide.
a great guide for like say the Cicerone exam, something like that. There's a lot of people that are into that program or beer judge, certification or anything like that.
Wow.
It's a good thing if you like beer, you want to try new beers. It's a great guide to drink along with tasting those beers. What do you think of this?
I like it a lot.
It's one. It definitely because of the high ABV, you can almost taste the little bit of that alcohol taste on it.
Yes, it's
Little
very
bit of burn.
strong.
Yes,
Right.
it is. I mean, what'd you say? 9.2.
Yeah.
9.2.
Yeah.
Certain
But-
richness to it too, but I like it.
But yes, it's not like a New England style.
No.
I get more of a traditional IPA style.
So when you're looking at these IPAs, so you look at a lot of the
It almost has a malty.
yeah,
It has a little bit of a malty.
it does, and the reason for that is now when you see a lot of these session IPAs, and I think Founders does a really good job with that all day IPA.
Which has a woody on it.
Exactly right. So
It's not a bus. It's a woody.
it's a woody.
I didn't catch that.
The old woodies. It's not a bus on the can.
Oh, it's a Woody,
It's a woody.
like an old wagon,
Yeah.
right?
The old
Yes.
Jeep wagon.
Yeah,
Was it Jeep?
I don't know if Willys made that. Ford and Plymouth and Chrysler definitely
All right.
did.
Yeah, but it's got the old wood panels.
Yes, actually,
With a
a
canoe
lot
on
of
top.
car makers. I want to say almost all the car makers, but the really known ones are like the Fords and the Plymouths.
I thought it was-
and the
yeah,
Chryslers. Those are the ones that are sought after. All right, enough car
Yes,
nerd
and
stuff.
I'm glad you
There's a comedian that said, I think it was Chrysler that said, "Hey, listen, our car needs a belt. You know what I mean? And why not make it out of something flammable? You know what I mean? Like, because every car should be able to catch on fire at some point, right?
Yeah, excitement.
Exactly,
People's
right.
lives are far too dull.
Yeah.
That's why they used to put the gas tank in the trunk of the old pony cars. The old
Pintos?
no, well maybe those two, but the Mustangs.
They did what?
They had right in the back of the trunk, at the bed of the trunk, instead of a spare wheel or anything, there was a gas tank. It laid flat on top instead of underneath.
In the car rather than under the car.
Yeah.
That
So if you got
doesn't seem
rear-ended,
wise.
your whole car would just flood with gas,
Ooh, awesome.
and if it sparked, you were
You're toast. Literally. Pun intended? No, whatever.
Bing.
We're not doing puns.
Oof.
Anyway, back to this beer because it tastes good.
Yeah.
Even though you definitely get the hoppiness, whatever that flavor is, like that bite.
Right. So you
But
want
there's still the malty.
Yeah, you
so
want
it's
some
not
balance.
So bitter. Yeah.
The ultimate goal is balance in beer. And what you see a lot in these session IPAs is a hop bomb. They just want to make a real hoppy beer. but they don't balance it out. Now, when you balance it out, you're adding malt to it, and the malt is what gives you the alcohol. So to find that balance or the balanced taste is very difficult. So to get a 4.2% beer with hop flavor like Founder's done is very hard to do. So you see a lot of them, and they fail miserably. Now on the converse side, you get some really malty big beers. If you like malty, that's great. You know what I mean? But some, are a little bit tough to take. My favorite is probably for like a, let's say 9%er. It's probably Dogfish 90 Minute. That's probably one of the best IPAs in the world, I think, because of the balance.
And they have lost a huge amount of market share.
Yeah.
Not to say anything bad about Dogfish, because their IPAs are really good. But if you notice,
do you think that's because of their merger with Sam Adams?
No, because I think specifically other IPAs came about. Not that really they're any better, but
they lost a little bit of clout.
What I think you said to me, I think specifically, it's not so much people want an IPA; they want what's new IPA.
Right.
And Dogfish isn't new; they're actually old in terms of microbreweries. They're actually one of the older ones. And I hate to say, people's tastes, like you said, aren't. They want an IPA, but they had the Dogfish, they had the Hill Farmstead, they had the Bissell Brothers, they had the whatever.
There's so many good
beers. I just
out there.
named it several, and there's literally dozens more. Like people, they want to try to say, hey, I haven't had this. That's huge.
And we, as craft beer drinkers, are grazers.
Yeah.
Grazers. That was the term I was looking for. Thanks for waiting and make me struggle there for a while.
That's my thing. I always say that we're grazers. We want to try something new all the time.
Yeah.
Now Sam Adams merged with Dogfish, and you have two legends of the industry. Okay. Now there's not a bad beer that Sam Adams make. I have a reputation as being this guy, or I used to have a reputation as a guy that didn't like Sam Adams because I never put it on tap when I was running bars. I don't have anything against Sam Adams, but you see it at every Applebee's, you see it at every TGI Fridays. I wanted to have something a little bit different than the guy down the street. And I thought one of the things in Schenectady was great was that you could go to 20 North Broadway and you get a Flower Power, and you could get a Fiddlehead. You go to Hunters on J and you get 4 or 5 different IPAs that were always changing. You know what I mean? You could go to different bars in town and get different IPAs. We never really copied each other. It wasn't the same beer in Schenectady. Yeah. We kind of had a little footprint of good bars and good IPAs that were rotating. Some great local stuff. You had some popular stuff, but it wasn't the same everywhere you went. And that's when Dogfish merged with them, it kind of went to that thing where they're both really great beers and great companies, but everybody's had them. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to try the new stuff, but they don't necessarily have a permanent place on tap in any bar anymore. You know what I mean? Or any craft bar. And that's really tough for these breweries to swallow because they think they should be on everywhere. And quality-wise, they should. I mean, their quality is better than anybody else. You know what I mean? You're going to have the same exact beer.
No matter where you are.
Every single Dogfish 90 Minute is going to taste the exact same. And you can't say that about a lot of beers because these small batch breweries, stuff like that, it's hard for them to control the quality and everything like that. So, shout out to them for the quality of it. But the newness and excitement, the generations now and even us, and we're older guys, and we're excited to try new stuff.
Yeah, so. Name one brewery that we've ever been to also that, and we're nice polite guys, but name one that we've gone to where we felt that they probably shouldn't have been doing what they were doing.
That they probably should not
name
have.
one bad beer that we've had.
Nothing really sticks out. I got to be honest with you.
I'm just saying, there's so much talent.
I mean, honestly, nobody's going to try to give us a beer that's terrible.
No,
I think we're also in a good area, too. We got some really great brewers around here, too.
And I'm trying to be honest right now. I'm honestly trying to think of one brewery. I mean, I've had some beers that I didn't like as much.
Even if you thought of one, are you going to call them out?
I'll call out.
I'm not sure that's.
What was the Whiskey Pickle made the hot martini,
which was delicious.
I didn't like it.
The hot and dirty martini.
I will reiterate that I really liked that.
I know you did.
I didn't think I was going to.
I didn't like it.
Well, see, all right.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. But I love the Bee's Knees is my favorite drink from them.
That was really.
That's
good.
an old time drink too.
It
comes from the 1920s.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned that to me.
I think that was a prohibition
time. That I mentioned
drink.
that drink, and
I
they
love
said
gin.
it was a Bee's Knees. I go, I think that was actually the name of the drink.
Yeah. And then they also had what was it? The Surfer on Acid 2.
What was in that one? Do you remember?
Well,
I mean, I've made plenty of Surfer Acid.
Instead of using Jaeger, they used, what was it? They said Fernet?
I have no idea, but it was delicious.
Instead of using Jaeger, which I don't think they had, they used Fernet and something else.
Like coconut cream and
coconut cream. It was real. It was it was a real Surfer on Acid. Not the what was it? Malibu, Jaeger, and pineapple juice. Was that a Surfer on Acid?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they just added something.
I made a lot of those.
Yeah, I did back in 1998. Yeah,
that was a long time.
That was a shot of choice when I first started bartending.
I've never been a mixed drink guy.
No.
Well, it's not Surfer on Acid. It's not really a drink. It was.
Well, this
shot.
was a full.
Yeah, they made a cocktail out of it. They made a real drink, which is what you should do.
Yeah, it's delicious. I like it. I'm because of those guys. I've noticed like now, like even the other day when I went out, I was going to all these different bartenders. Like one of my favorite things to do when I go to the Tipsy Moose, I forget the name of the bartender. Very forgettable guy. But anyway, he's
he better not be a listener.
No, he's a good dude. Yeah, he doesn't even know how to work a.
Hey, there's plenty of times that I wish I was forgettable. So.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I would go to him and say, "Hey, make me something with mezcal. Make me something with mezcal. Make me something with like I don't know, Jameson. I'll make me some with Jameson. Make me something with Jaeger. I'll make me some with Jaeger. Because I want to try new drinks.
Would you say it is a plethora?
Plethora.
We got several beers here coming out.
That looks like champagne.
Yeah. It looks like it's a lambic.
Yeah, I got a couple things for you. Actually, that one. No, we're gonna save that one.
All right. Well, I was all excited for
no.
now.
Actually, we're not gonna save that one. No, that we are. Yeah.
He's like, that's not for you. Oh my giggin'.
Oh my god.
He always brings these treats for us. Who was it? You gave me a look when I asked for more drink.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, "What are you, Oliver Twist?" Please, sir.
May I have some more?
Yeah, sorry. All right, I had to get all my samples out. Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Bottles.
you did like the cup shake. Like,
Yeah.
You looked at me like,
I'm
motherfucker,
like-
go get it
I'm
yourself.
Like, what are you really?
All right. So last week you guys were talking about Wits and Weissens.
Oh, can I ask a quick question before we
Yes.
get into this?
Yep.
How did I do on saisons? The farm?
Saisons?
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong that it's German.
Well, whatever.
It's Belgium, but you were dead on with the whole thing. So definitely farmhouse ingredients. Definitely spicy, and it gets into the whole Belgian yeast, which is very spicy and everything like that. So you get a lot.
And
of
Jason did a
peppers, stuff
great
like
job. That cigar that I had with
Yeah,
it went
I
great.
was thinking to myself, I don't smoke cigars, but the description fit it perfectly. And I'm like, wow, like I actually thought
Makes you
about
wanna
it.
smoke a cigar,
Yeah, I almost
doesn't it?
wanted to smoke a cigar. I'm like, I bet you I would probably enjoy it. Because me being an idiot, I'd probably go suck on it, suck all the air in and get lightheaded and puke
Yeah,
my
you don't do
brains
that.
out, right? But I'm like, oh, that was really good. I try to play it off, you know what I mean? Then, right. So, all right. So, anyway, it's summertime. Wheat beers, summer beers are influenced by basically, all beers really from England, Belgium, and Germany, as we've talked about before a little bit. And the main difference is the yeast strains in a lot of these. So the wit in the Weiss beer or Weissen, the biggest difference in taste
Is the yeast?
is from the yeast. Actually,
So it would have a little bit more banana bubblegum?
no, actually, the wit's going to have bubblegum.
Wow.
Bubblegum and coriander.
See, I said bubblegum.
Okay. Yeah, the bubblegum. You're going to see. Yeah, you're going to love this too. You hit it right on the head. But the German is going to have banana. The German is banana and clove. So you're close. You're very close there.
What I did is I took the right answer to both
Oh
beers.
wow!
And put
I
it
could just see it. Like he just made
So you're
something
learning.
up.
It's like I love that you guys
I
say
can
that you
tell
know
right
nothing
away
about beer,
until
but then
he
you start
made it
seeing
up.
like
He
little.
probably knew the
right.
whole time.
No, I did not know that.
All right,
Once upon a time we did.
For this one, this is a favorite American brew of mine. I love Omegang Wit. Okay. Because their yeast strain is so strong and Belgium-y and everything like that. It's got some. Now you've all had Allagash White, so I want to give you something a little bit different.
Is
and I'm not-
Allagash White from Maine?
It is.
It is.
Yes, that's right,
It is,
right,
and
yeah.
that's a great Belgium
Portland.
influence.
Allagash White was when I digress right now.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to Portland, which we often do, we head up to Portland, Maine, and I remember at one point
Thank you.
that it was what's the term you would use for? It was in almost every bar, regardless
Yeah,
of
well,
Yeah, it's kind of the flagship of that
whole area.
Yes.
But it's now that has changed. I believe Lone Pine
Oh, really? I
Lone
love
Their
Lone Pine.
pale
Lone Pine's
ale.
taken over that, really?
Pete, my partner's Eric's
Right.
brother, I think, is the one that mentioned, because I remember when I was there, the Allagash White was in every bar, and I think Pete made that point. I want to say the last time I was there.
You see, I would think that like
It
something
was-
like Main Lunch or something like a.
I don't know if it's new enough, or I don't know if I've been there more recent enough. That may have changed since the last time I was there. But
I
it was
haven't been. I've been
definitely-
there I was probably there 16, 17 months ago, and Allagash White was still the big beer, but I had not heard about Lone Pine yet. And then when I had Lone Pine, I loved it. It's great. I would choose Lone Pine over Allagash any day. I'm not a big fan of Allagash White, but
Well,
we got off subject.
what beers do you like from Lone Pine? What style?
what's the pale ale?
We just have the straight pale ale, which
That's
is I guess
phenomenal.
which
Okay,
I guess
so-
is their flagship, which is
All right.
a lot of people liken to a India pale ale, but I
Sure.
think technically, however they make it, it's just a pale ale.
So, I mean, the difference between a pale and an IPA isn't much. It's usually about the IBU content. Normally, a pale ale is 15 to 30 IBUs. A IPA is 30 to 45. An Imperial is 45 plus, and you get them all the way up to 100. You stop tasting stuff after like 70 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter. It just numbs your taste buds.
Yeah.
It's like hot sauce. You know what I mean?
I love hot
after
sauce.
a
Right. So,
Okay.
again, I asked what style it was because, again, Allagash is different. It's a Belgian brewery. Just like Ommegang is different than anything you're going to see around here because it's a Belgian brewery. They only brew with Belgium yeast.
Yeah.
You normally don't cross yeast strains because you don't want to infect your yeast.
Yeah.
Yeast is so fragile and so delicate. You don't have an English yeast in house and have a Belgian yeast in house because they get into each other and they just, you just ruin your yeast that way.
Yeah.
So you pick one, you go with it for your brewery. Now, most breweries in America use a neutral yeast. So you see, these are all wheat-based beers that we're trying. They're the ones that they use in America, like, say, Brooklyn or Sam Adams. They're a neutral yeast. Sam Adams has its own patented yeast. I know it's whatever, but it's a neutral. It doesn't give any flavor to the beer. You get your flavor from American beer from your adjuncts and your hops, basically. Your hops, lemon zest, grains of paradise. Sam Adams likes to use. You know what I mean? Like that African pepper. You know what I mean?
Noble
Like,
Hills.
right, exactly. The noble hops.
Or noble hops,
Right,
I mean.
so you get from the hops. That's where you get your flavor from. So these European beers, the flavor comes from the yeast. So what do you think about this?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but is that the one that has the bubblegum flavor? Mm-hmm. I definitely noticed it.
Yes.
And screw you, Nick, because maybe you tainted my thought.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
it definitely had that flavor.
Yes, you also, in a lot of Belgian beers, you'll get a champagne-y, like bubbling, or like the carbonation is a little bit, it's a finer bubble too. And
Now
that
this
comes
is
from
a
the yeast
wit.
as well. This is a wit, correct. So the difference between a wit and a Weissen as well, as far as that goes, is it's the amount of wheat too. So in the color, obviously. So I think there's either, I'm not going to get this right, so there's either less wheat or more wheat. I want to say less wheat in a wit for the brewing process that gives it the white color, it keeps it white, and there's more or fuller, with the
And the Hefeweizen.
with the Hefeweizen, which gives it like that golden color.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's a spiciness with the bubblegum.
Mm-hmm. Spice,
like-
you get a little bit of the coriander. You
Yeah.
get some, a lot of spice, and again, these are all top fermenting beers. All ales are top fermenting, so you get the bubbling on top, which permeates the phenols and esters, which gives you the fruity and spicy notes from all those things. So, and that comes from the hops too. So the
I was
hops,
gonna say, that
what,
comes
right,
from the
all
hops.
Those, right, the hops, those are the flavors. So a lager, it's straightforward. You don't get any of those flavors that come from a hop. You just get a little, you get a little bit of hop flavor, that kind of bitterness, but it's a clean, crisp, fresh beer. That's why I hate when they have like India Pale lagers.
Yeah.
You miss all the good things from that. It's just like a cool, little hybrid. Hey, we're doing this.
Yeah, because it's new.
I just hate that style. I really
Yeah.
do. You find one that you like, great. I mean, most of them will be citrusy because they'll
Yeah.
make it that end, and it ends up being like almost like a nice pilsner, like citrusy pilsner. You know what I mean? That's a lot of Saz hops and stuff like that are really crisp and clean anyway. So it's just overly hopped Czech pilsner. At the end of the day, I think. I don't know, but sound right?
Yeah, I
Sounds
like
right
what's.
to me.
I like
Do I
what's.
sound
I
like
have no idea.
I know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just.
No, I like.
I'm kind of blacking out right now. I'm pulling a Will Ferrell.
I like what's better more than I like a Hefeweizen. There's a little bit of the bubblegum and
And there's a sweetness too, like the sweet spiciness.
yeah. And Brian over at Mad Jack made a very good wit that we tried. That was the one that he mixed with the. It's not a shanty. It's where they mixed it with the grapefruit.
A Radler.
I don't remember. Was that what it was?
I think it is. Yeah.
Jeez.
That was really good. That was really really good. So if you like something like that from a local brewery, I think that Brian over at Mad Jack does a really good
Like
wit.
that,
yeah.
Now Brian does a really nice job
Everything.
over there. I like Brian because he's open minded and he does good stuff.
Yeah.
And Billy gives him the go ahead and hey, make this beer, and he does it. So.
I had to get rid of that one.
All right, you guys good with that one?
Yeah, let's try something else.
All right, here we go. Now we're going to go to
The
probably
Weiss-
my
the
favorite
Weiss beer.
my favorite beer, okay? I fell in love with German beer studying for the Cicerone, and Paulaner Hefeweizen was my favorite. So now we'll get into that banana and clove W72 yeast strain that gives you all those,
You got it?
the German yeast strain. And W72 is one of them. There's a couple of them that have that banana and clove flavor to them. And you get it on the aroma, you get it on the nose, you get it in just all throughout. And it's really like the signature of German beer when it comes to ales. Now remember, a lot of people think, when I used to think German beer, I think Beck's.
Right.
So you're thinking German Pilsners. So the Pilsner yeast is not the same. German ale yeast has got that real pungent,
This is a
aroma.
far more mellow
yes,
beer.
right. The it's not as aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's not that
Especially
aftertaste.
bubbles.
Right.
It's smoother.
It is. It's smoother. It's much more mellow.
Mm-hmm.
That wit has a much sharper flavor that I would say like is like every sip you're getting that, and I think like you better be like it's like that a lot. Whereas this is much more mellow. Like I remember when we were at the Bayou, when this came in, and it became
This is one
like,
of Barry's favorites.
well, it became like it had a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, and I forgive me, I'm sure nobody is listening that would have been there, but there were certain people that, and it was so popular, and it would go often, like more often than any other beers. It was hard to keep. It was hard to keep because it was hard to keep on stock because it was always going out, and it wasn't real popular, so there wasn't a lot of it. But there were certain people that would like just walk in the door and be like, "Do you got Paulaner?" And I'd be like, "It's out," because they knew it. That happened a lot. They would just turn around and walk right out the door.
Those sons of...
Oh, it happened all the time. There was a really big cult following that if we didn't have it, they weren't sticking around. I was like, wow.
I would have stuck around.
Well, you know what was nice?
we only had we had 27 beers on tap. Come on, you can't find a beer.
What was nice was when Matt Baumgartner opened up all the beer gardens.
Yeah.
And you could find all these German beers, and DiGrassetti had to keep getting them in stock. And
They had some
really
crazy stuff for us
yeah.
back then. Now it's kind of
up
normal.
but up the order of all those German beers because there's so many beers that Spaten Optimator
Spaten.
and
Oh, yeah.
Spaten,
Roqueforts.
Dunk, just some great German beers, and people didn't know that they existed. But all American beer is influenced by these European beers and these styles, and the only thing that we do here in America is to try to put a little twist on them.
Yeah.
And I would say America's best contribution to craft beer in the last 10, 15 years has been the barrel aging. I loved all the bourbon barrels and everything like that.
Whiskey.
So that's what Founders has done. And
I've definitely had that.
Right. Founders, Goose Island.
KCBs.
Yeah, all these,
KBS.
KBS, right. Yeah,
Yep.
so that's Founders. All these breweries have done a great job.
Oh, your Firestone guys, too.
Yeah,
That was
yes, Firestone Walker. And I used to collect all that stuff.
Yeah.
Firestone Walker and Founders are probably the two best barrel aging programs in the world.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
What was it? The Smoky Bastard? No.
God, I don't even know what I gave you.
Crazy Beaver.
I don't know. Great Flats.
got
Great
crazy
Flats
names.
was doing it when we were over there. as
Yeah,
I
they were.
recall.
And that was pretty good.
They had like 2 or 3 barrels sitting
They
there.
had the
and
cinnamon
it was chalked
toast.
on there.
Yeah.
I
When
was
they had it,
trying
when it
so
was
hard
brewed.
for him to do one for me and call it whiskey or call it failure to launch.
Yeah.
He's like, why? I go, because you can't call it whiskey dick. It's like, do make me a stout and do it. He's like, oh, come on, man. And I was like, all right, bad idea. No, they're not all gold, man. Come on.
Also, Frog Alley did one, too, that we didn't get an opportunity
Yeah,
to try.
I saw a bottle of it or a can of it somewhere.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it was.
They did it with Buffalo Trace.
Yes, it was like
barrels or
it's
something.
called Just a Trace.
Yeah.
It's actually. Oh, I should have grabbed the can. It's over at Westmere.
I've seen
right
their
now.
beer
Yeah.
at a Tops grocery store in Saranac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it. They're getting around. I mean, the quality's
Yeah.
through the roof. Rich is doing a great job over there.
Tops.
All right,
Did
so-
you just say tops? Did
Tops
you
grocery
just
store.
like try to slip that in there
Well, that's what it
on
was.
purpose?
Tops
Okay,
grocery store.
I get a feeling there was like
There was one
There was
going out
some
towards
purposeful-
Saginaw. Is there still?
no, that wasn't a Tops.
What was that?
That was a Grand Union,
No.
and now it is a. You talking about the one in Northville?
Yeah,
no,
that's
I'm
it.
talking
Well,
about the one on just Glenville on the on 50, just past the elementary
talking
school on the right hand side. Wasn't there a Tops? Maybe it was a trading post. I
In
don't know.
Glenville?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I'm totally lost.
I'm pretty sure there was. Maybe it's gone now, but when I was a kid, there was a Tops there.
There's Tops Diner,
No, not Tops. Five Corners.
right? No, I don't remember.
They have a good cheesecake.
they got
I don't even know what
great
you're talking
desserts over
about.
there.
Where in
They have a
Phenomenal
good
desserts.
Cobb salad.
Good Cobb salad.
I'm a fan of the Cobb salad, and their Belgian waffles. They don't have any. They may have Belgian beer. They had beer last time. I was
They have Mickey Mouse pancakes there for the kids. It's
Do they?
Yeah, they love it. So, okay, monkey wrench here. So we're going with the.
Is this a
Dunkel.
different beer?
This is a different beer.
Oh, I didn't even
okay.
know.
Just jumping around.
So this
Yeah,
is
it's like-
well, I wanted to throw one different one to you because it's not just the light beers that go with that W72 yeast and that banana clove. The Einger Dunkel, so a Dunkelbach or not Dunkelbach, Dunkelweizen. Okay, so it's a darker Hefeweizen basically.
Is that
so
what Dunkel means? Just dark?
Dunkel darker, yeah.
Smells like Pineapple Express to me.
So, as I understand it, the darkness comes from the malt.
Darker malt.
They
Mm-hmm.
either burn it or not burn it, but
Well, it's just a darker malt, like a
Darker.
chocolate
Yeah,
malt. You
yeah.
know, what I mean, there's different malts that all over the place. So it's not
but
just.
it doesn't make it taste darker.
It
so
does.
much. It does. Okay, see, in particular-
See, you're jumping ahead.
Well, see, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blow up your spot.
No, you're fine. You're. But remember that banana clove we just experienced? Now
Yes.
you're gonna get a little chocolate with it. Okay,
Chocolate
so now you're
bananas.
a little bit of chocolate in your banana.
Chocolate banana muffins. Those are delicious.
And I would say that the banana and clove was much more muted as opposed to the wit, where
Yes.
the flavors come right out at you. Mm-hmm. All right, sorry, I backed up a little bit.
Let me know what you think of this one.
It really does taste like a.
Yeah, you definitely got some chocolate,
Yeah, definitely chocolate.
Jess makes a chocolate banana muffin, and it
but
does actually really taste.
it's a
Yeah.
dark beer without tasting too dark.
Right. Again, it's still on the lighter end.
Yeah,
it's
not like you're drinking a porter or
we're
a
not-
stout.
It's not a porter or a stout.
I feel like you couldn't see all the way through this, but I'm pretty sure you get a
Yeah,
little bit more
absolutely.
clarity out of it than you would the stout.
Right. So the SRM scale, when you talk about
Clarity.
porters and stouts, I know that was a question on one of your podcasts a long time ago, like what's the difference between a porter
Oh,
and a
yeah,
stout,
yeah.
whatever.
I
The
love that Kevin listens to.
I can't believe,
yeah,
I can't believe anybody.
yeah,
listens to us.
We got a lot of
I'm your
people.
listener. But they're called brown porters, and stouts are black. So it's just all it is really is a little bit darker and more black patent malt that makes a stout for the most part. I mean, there's some subtle differences in the brewing process, and like when you look at like the nitro stouts, a lot of those beers came before carbonation, like
Yeah.
forced carbonation. So when you see a lot of those, like if you see cask ale when it's when they're pouring it like a beer engine, so a lot of those are geared towards that, and that's why when they could do it, that's why Guinness kind of stayed with that nitro, because they could keep that same type of process without doing the
Without
what I
having
mean?
to actually do
and,
that.
and exporting it to America. So they could do that with that whole process. Because I mean, if you carbonated Guinness, it wouldn't be anything like it. You know what I mean? Like with
Too
CO2.
chunky, yeah.
So interesting, but yeah, it's just a color differential between a brown porter and a stout. That's about it, And you've seen porters that are, it's really just a name.
Yeah.
Some porters are definitely stouts because they're black as black can be, So
Yep.
This is definitely a better. I like the darker beer.
this is my favorite out of the three. That's why
Obviously,
I brought
there's
it.
very little
Yeah.
hoppy.
This is
hoppy-
not a summer beer, but this is
Yes, there's
this
very
is-
little
yeah.
hoppiness at all to this.
It's a fall
Right.
beer.
It's a fall beer, and it's again, I love banana. And
Yeah.
I love chocolate, and it's a very subtle flavor. It's not a chocolate covered banana, so don't buy
Nah.
this thinking that it's a
yeah.
dessert
Oh my god,
beer.
I can't wait.
No, it's
yeah.
very close to it. Like I said, the banana nut muffin, with chocolate banana nut.
Yeah,
muffin. It
I
just-
brought dessert beers with me
Yeah.
today. These aren't it. So these are
I'm
definitely
not
special.
gonna lie. The
And
wit, the Armageddon is my favorite.
That's
one
your
so far.
favorite, Dave. What do you like?
Oh, this Dunkel by far.
Dunkel?
But
Yeah.
my tastes run to
Yeah,
darker beers.
my summer beer is the Hefeweizen. That's the beer I love. I'll buy a case of that, and I'll sip them, and you know what I mean. That's my go-to in the summertime. The Paulaner, I don't find that often. You don't find that by the case. In most places, I'll buy a 4-pack or 6-pack in the Bev Center, and if I see one I haven't had in a while, I'll try it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that too. So
I don't hate this. This is good. I actually like it.
all right, can
It's
we go?
sort of like a Beck Stark.
It is. Well, I mean, I'm sure dark malt. You know what I mean? Maybe they are using a little bit of that
Right.
German malt. You never
Remember
know.
Beck
I mean,
Stark?
hey, I'm not going to say no because I don't think I've had Beck Stark in 20 years until before I learned about beer. So I do
Well,
have.
what do you think Beck Stark is? It might be a Dunkelweiss.
Beck Stark? Well, let's see. I would probably say it's probably closer to a Schwarzbier.
A what?
A Schwarzbier.
I just want to hear you say it twice for our
Yes.
listeners.
This
Probably-
is very hard.
Schwartz is what-
I'd say it's probably
wait,
closer
is that
to
a-
like a German black lager, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever really had anything to do with that beer in a long time.
I don't think it's in the Bible.
It probably isn't. Yeah,
Although Beck's has been around for a long time.
it has.
So.
It has definitely.
I see your Schwartz is bigger than mine.
That's right. Oh, speaking of
Oh,
which,
you couldn't even get the button right. I'm
oh,
watching
that was-
him. I'm watching
that
him
was
fumble
a
with the
perfect
buttons.
segue.
He blew that completely. I wish everybody could have seen that.
I have a question for you. So, I've been to 20 North last couple weeks, and I noticed something. The Millennium Falcon is still hanging.
Yep.
Oh, the X-Wing's gone?
The X-Wing's there.
Yep.
Where is the TIE Fighter?
The TIE Fighters twin ion engines popped off.
And
They
knocked
don't
somebody's
they
eye
don't
out.
stay on, so that they need to be glued on, because if they come off, it won't hang up. So unfortunately, it's downstairs awaiting being glued together.
Was it a trap?
It was not a trap. Did you see that? Did you see that thing on May 4th?
No.
I might still have it on my phone. At Heathrow, they posted an entire Star Wars themed arrivals and departures.
That's awesome.
Really?
You can look it up. I mean, anybody out there listening can look it up. But
Okay.
but they did it, and it was really clever. Like if you're landing on Hoth, be prepared for delays. They have to plow the runway.
No
it was
shit.
really good.
Yeah.
And they worked in It's a Trap in there somewhere, but I'm not going to blow it for everybody out there.
Nice.
I just want you to know it's on there. So if you look it up, it's the last one, and it's pretty funny.
All right. So, seeing as this is a bar podcast and we just hit Star Wars, okay, I'm going to throw out some characters. What would you expect them to order at the bar? Okay, because
That's too hard.
I-
I
no,
thought you were going
it's
to ask
not.
me like my favorite baseball player or something easy.
no, it's not. It's I mean, Dave, you pretty much run the Cantina bar, so
yeah,
in
exactly.
Schenectady. I mean, if you haven't seen
Weirder
Dr.
people.
Evasion, and he doesn't like you. If you haven't seen that guy in 20 North, then you haven't been in 20 North. So I don't like you either. And dude, there's lightsabers flying around that place. So, all right, let's start with everybody's favorite Han Solo. What would Han Solo order when he walked into 20 North Broadway?
Dude, I don't know. This
Bruce
game's
Almond.
already too hard.
This game's already too hard.
Bruce
You don't like this
Almond.
game. What's that?
Bruised almond.
No, he's
Bruised
thinking
almond.
he's thinking of like liquor. Or
No,
beer.
Han Solo is definitely
We're talking
like
about
a
drink?
Han Solo is like a. I gotta say, he's like a Boilermaker type guy. Like he's just freaking. He Han
Right to the
Solo-
point.
Han Solo would sit in one of the booths and fit in perfectly at 20
Man,
North.
I was
He'd
waiting for
go-
you to say Jabba the Hutt, and I was going to say pizza.
He would be shot at JMO and a PBR, and you would never have a problem with him.
Somebody actually ordered a Boilermaker the other day.
Really?
I don't know that I couldn't tell you the last time I've ever had to like order one. I almost panicked. I mean,
How old were they?
It was a young person.
So was he trying to,
I don't know. I looked right at him. I'm like, I haven't made a Boilermaker in a while. I'm like, do you got a preference on whiskey? Whatever whiskey I gave him, and preference on beer. And that was it. I'm
Did
like,
you drop the shot in, or did you?
Nope. He did
Yeah.
them separate. He just did the shot and drank
Okay.
the beer. Did not drop it in. I wondered about that too.
Yeah.
Some people pour it in. Some people
Yeah,
drop it in.
it's- right.
He just did it straight up shot.
I think he would do JMO.
Yeah.
I don't know. Han Solo would probably be a beer and a shot type guy.
All right. What about Luke?
Sex on the beach.
Shirley Temple.
I'm thinking Luke is a white claw guy.
Wait,
right?
what's a dirty Shirley?
Dirty Shirley? Lando. I mean, Lando.
Colt 45.
Colt 45.
Hennessy.
You gotta.
You had to know I was going to jump on that.
You can't. Right.
You were just waiting for us.
He did the
to jump on that.
commercials. You got to stick with it. So you got to.
That way better commercials than Bruce. I'm sorry, I streamed in.
No, that's fine.
All right, now what about
way better commercial than Bruce Willis for Seagram's? I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yes, absolutely. What about Leia? Now, I got a little bit of a
Body shots.
No.
You can't serve heroin at a.
She's probably pretty simple.
Heroin.
I mean, like like maybe a glass of wine.
Okay, yeah. So this is where I'm going with this one. I think Leia. Busy day princessing, ambassador
She's not
to
gonna make
multiple
anything
planets.
fancy.
She's going to unwind with a glass of wine.
Yeah, she's
right?
not going to do anything
But
fancy.
when Slave Leia comes out and the hair goes down,
Oh Jesus!
and the bikini comes on,
Body shots.
she's a woo girl, man. She's freaking doing tequila all day long. You don't think so?
No, I was thinking of something else, but that's good. Sorry, it's my mind strayed there.
All right, let's get a little bit. All right, let's go. Jabba the Hutt.
That fat bastard.
PBR.
No.
Jabba's PBR.
No.
He eats frogs out of a bowl
Listen,
alive.
I know, but Jabba's a gangster. Okay, you gotta assimilate that with the mafia. I'm thinking Jabba's a Zambuca and a snifter.
Probably.
maybe some Chianti. You know what I mean? Like really just pasta all over himself. He's kind of like that guy in Big Daddy. Eating the pasta with the hot girl on his shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At the
right?
restaurant.
Yeah, that's Jabba right there. He's just sipping the wine, just living the life,
All
right?
right.
Maybe
All right.
a snifter of brandy.
Snifter brandy.
Is he that
like it.
refined
Yep.
or?
Yep, I can see
I mean,
it.
it is Jabba. I mean,
Yeah, I can see it.
That's 2 podcasts in a row. We've got somebody doing this.
Yeah.
the snifter move.
All right,
Shake it around.
last one, Vader.
Vader.
This is a tough one because you can go a lot of different directions.
I say he doesn't drink. He's too serious.
No, stop.
Oh, I think he drink. He definitely drinks.
Like, are you thinking like Scotch on the rocks, or are you thinking more like?
He's either doing like a Scotch, like a Johnny
Or
Blue on the
like-
rocks, and he's
Or just
Not
straight.
like- not
he's,
something
he's,
like a
he's,
Manhattan
he's
or
either
something like that.
flashing the cash, or he's doing the Manhattan.
What a badass is
and
drink.
he's freaking force choking anybody that gets it wrong. He's
Darth
going through
Vader drinks
bartenders.
anything he wants.
He's going through
'cause he's
bartenders
Darth
like
Vader.
like underwear,
Maybe. I don't think he
He
drinks.
might be something, like I want to say like Scotch rocks or something.
Scotch
like that.
rocks, like a Johnny Blue, something.
Something,
maybe,
yeah, obviously it's
some
Darth
nice
Vader. He can
cognac,
have
a
whatever
nice
he wants.
VSOP, something like.
Or
Or
rare,
maybe he's like a
you
big
know.
fan of pina coladas.
that could actually perfect.
He puts
I
his pinky up when he takes a sip.
Right.
Pina colada.
It's like Kim Jong Un in what was that? What was that movie when he
Oh,
they
yeah,
kill him? He's
yeah.
like, Dave, is there anything wrong with margaritas?
Yes, there's tequila in them.
Oh, I love tequila. I love
do
mezcal.
you guys make margaritas at 20 North?
Sure.
You do. Willingly?
Yeah, sure. I don't care. I made thousands of them at the Bayou.
That-
So me making them at my place isn't really.
right.
You're never gonna. It's
Do
never
you do
gonna.
the salt?
It's never. Yeah, if people want it, it's never gonna come close to the Bayou.
Oh no.
Not
course
even
not.
close.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't. Jess gets those. I don't really drink them.
They're.
You're okay.
If I get a margarita, I want it. I don't get fancy with it. I think if you're gonna drink good tequila,
I do like mezcal in it.
mezcal. Okay, I've never had mezcal. Honestly, yeah, I have.
It's smoky.
Is it?
It's a smoky tequila.
I gotta try it.
That's,
But
I mean,
what
I think tequila. I think that you smoke the agave plant for
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
I think that when you get a margarita, because you're mixing with sour mix, it's just like mixing Jack Daniels and Coke. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not going to mix good liquor with
A bunch
soda,
of sweet and sour.
right? So if you're drinking a margarita, I go Cuervo Gold. You get that nice dirty taste to it. You know what I mean? You almost don't want a great tequila in it. Cuervo's good enough. Cuervo
Yeah.
Gold. You know what I mean? When you drink it, it's this is such a smooth margarita. It's like just drink it smooth. You know what I mean? Like just drink. If you want a Patron, drink Patron
straight.
straight.
Yeah.
And don't
Maybe a
mess
little
with it.
lime.
Right. I mean, if you're drinking good,
Anything.
Jameson
but
Black
that-
Barrel or
I was
Jameson.
gonna say that pretty much applies to most top
Yeah.
shelf, like good liquor.
Yeah.
That applies to most of them.
It's also
you don't
different-
want to mix the good liquor with something because you're just
Right.
detracting from.
It's also.
I mean,
perception,
think about
too.
this. The only reason that mixed drinks are popular was because of prohibition. when the liquor that you got during all right there, Oliver, the liquor that you got during Prohibition was, like what they referred to as like bathtub gin, which basically people were making it in their homes,
which was legal.
Which
you
was
actually
the
were allowed
problem
to,
was a lot of it was of not good quality.
I don't want any gin out of my bathtub, but I love gin.
Exactly, but a lot of
you
it
were
was
allowed to make a certain amount for your home,
for your
right?
per personal consumption. It was true with wine as well. But the thing was, the people that were making it for other people wanted to make it as fast and cheaply as possible. So generally, it was terrible liquor. So that to make it drinkable, that's why people started mixing it with like cranberry juice or orange juice.
Oh, wow.
Not because it's a tasty drink, which it is, I will admit, but it was the only way people could literally
Stomach
drink
it.
that liquor because it was so terrible.
You ever watch
that you had to mix it with stuff, and that's really the only reason. See, but prior to prior to Prohibition, people drank liquor straight. There was no cocktails. All the cocktails you see pretty much today were all a result of people trying to make liquor drinkable.
Also, you didn't have juice and
Yeah, true.
You didn't have carbonation. You didn't have soda. Soda didn't exist. It was with water or
right. Club soda. I think you could get at the time.
Yeah, I don't think carbonation really came into effect until the early 1900s. Right?
You ever see
Yes, I
the
think
Boardwalk
that's true.
Empire, where they're like cutting? Well, they were making like really crappy liquor, and then they were cutting it with like that embalming fluid. What's that stuff called?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's part of the thing that I was talking about was because it tasted so bad.
Yeah, they were doing it for color. So they were making basically a grain alcohol. Then they would mix it with formaldehyde for color and call
Make
it
it with whiskey. Yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. I'm glad we missed that, to be honest with you. But Jesus, think about that, everybody out there. No alcohol.
Yeah, we live in a great time.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you got bathtub gin mixed with real cocaine, Coca-Cola. I mean, that must have been a good time, right?
Yes. You know what's so funny? I was just watching the thing on the Titans that built America,
Oh, wow.
and one of them was the Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, whatever.
Oh, was that the one with Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing. I just watched the front end of it, but it
I watched
talked
the back
about
end of it.
It talked about when he was coming up with the original formula. At one point, he got either fined or cited because there was something illegal in his drink, and it turns out it wasn't because of cocaine. It was actually the caffeine.
Really?
The caffeine in his original drink was at that time was you could get in trouble for it.
Wow.
But he was putting cocaine in
Cocaine's
it
fine.
instead. If there's cocaine, no problem.
It's like, sir, it says cocaine in it. The officer's like, no problem. He's like, it's also got caffeine in it. He's
Well,
like, you son of a bitch,
you're
you're
going
under
to jail.
arrest.
It was something. It was something crazy like that. He was originally in trouble because it had caffeine in it.
I had some friends that went down to Peru and did the whole like Machu Picchu
Yes.
Yeah.
hike and everything like that.
Yeah,
right?
Jen, right?
Jen
Yeah,
did that.
right. So she probably did the same thing. You wake up in the morning and I think they partied a lot when they were down there, like the whole deal. Probably
Suck on a coca leaf?
Right, probably smoked. No, not sucked on a coca leaf, but they had coca tea.
Oh, wow.
In the morning, and every morning they would wake up and have coca tea, and they said they felt phenomenal. I'm like, yeah, it's freaking, exactly. Like, oh no, like every morning we had it, and it was amazing. They boil down the coca leaves, and it's just like
Hangover
freaking-
gone.
Yeah, exactly. Hangover gone, and holy,
Yeah.
little
Jesus.
caffeine rush. Holy,
I'm a big fan
It's a little more
of
than caffeine.
the show Meat Eater on
I've seen. Yeah,
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Like,
I did
Steve
too.
Ranella is awesome.
Yeah.
And he goes down to I think it was Bolivia or something. It may have been Peru, whatever. But they were giving him coca leaves to suck on, and right before he hunted a monkey and ate
I'm
it.
pretty sure that the people that live down there do that like regularly
Yeah.
as part of their.
It's part of the. It's like religious,
It's part of their
Yeah.
culture.
It
Not-
is,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say diet because it's not really food.
but it has like certain you're right, certain celebrations or certain times of the day, like taking a nap, a siesta in Spain, or tea time in England.
Well, yeah, I guess so, but I think it's a little different. It is a narcotic.
Well, they have like certain celebrations and certain traditions that they do with the coca
well, is
leaves.
is the plant
Itself.
illegal or is it refined?
Actually, I have no
illegal?
idea.
It gets refined.
Yeah,
There's
so if
you got to
you-
mix it with gasoline, and
So I
it
think
takes the
it's-
alkaloids away, and then
Yeah,
it'll dry it out.
I think if you
and-
boil the leaves for a tea, I think it's okay. But
Yeah.
if you refine it and
Yeah.
do it right,
you could chew on it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't grow it here, but I mean, it's not cocaine, but
Right.
there's still certain features that you would get from it by
So-
chewing on it or boiling it into a tea.
Right. So think about the next big thing when it comes to FMBs and ciders and all that other stuff. How do we get weed in a can to sell?
Infused.
That could be our thing. So
Well, they do make.
Because I know
there's
now you
people
see
that make tinctures, which is basically alcohol infused with THC. So that does exist.
It does
I've
exist
had
already. So okay.
Yeah, I guess you could just put a few drops in your beer, and there you go.
Just like St. Patrick's Day, except it's weed.
Yeah,
instead of-
just like that. It's just like
So that's
it's
the
like
next.
chewing on plant leaves.
Watch. That's going to be the next big race. So when you see it,
Yeah.
now when you see like a lot of these beer companies, so they're struggling to sell their big beers, and the ones that are publicly traded, their best beers are have been tanking for years. But they add a cider, major cider. They add these major seltzers. They keep evolving with the industry and growing that way. So what's the next thing? Is it a race? I'm saying like now it's the seltzers right now.
Wine coolers.
Right. Wine coolers.
I'm really
And then-
hammering that horse.
I'm telling you right now, I think they all get their own brand of weed somehow. Somehow there's going to be, whether it's gummies, whether it's whatever, you're going to see something come out with that.
We first need to see it go federal before we see the big beer distributors, doing anything with that, because it's still illegal federally.
So you're saying we're going to get alcohol and weed in the same product?
Absolutely. I think that's the
I
next
can't
thing.
say
I think
that's bad.
I could see it personally myself. I could see it in a more of a microbrew setting first, and then from there.
Right. So, you've got the gummies. The gummies are going to be, you're going to see, I think you're going to see beer distributors.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's already. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost confident there's like 3 or 4 brands out there that already, like a couple out in Colorado. I think there's a new one in New York that's putting THC into alcohol.
You're going to see alcohol and beer get involved in that process, I guarantee, because they already have the licensing and the process and the know-how to do it all as far as distribution goes. So they're going to, figure out how to do that all.
Now, if there's one thing that we know too is that when you smoke weed and you ingest weed, there are 2 different types of highs, and your body breaks it down differently.
So how's your body going to handle it if you're drinking alcohol and weed in it? Although I will say this, it's
I would
it's
say
a great
90%
idea.
people- I would say 90%
next time I
of
go to
people doing it
SPAC, all I
anyway.
got to do is bring a 12-pack of weed beer, and I'm golden.
Where's my Wheaties?
Where's my weed? What do we call it? Yeah, weir.
Yeah.
Give me some weir. Or
This-
wait, bead.
This bud's for you, man.
We got to come up with something better than that. Right?
Not a good name.
That's terrible.
Weed or weir? Weed or weir?
I don't know. Neither of those is good. We'll have to come up with something more clever.
Yeah, please come up with something better before next podcast, so you can at least delete.
Well, it's too late now.
delete
Now that all
Yeah.
Hoocha?
the zillions of people that
So
that
that's-
claims are
that's-
listening to this
that's
are
my-
now going to
that's
steal our
prediction.
idea.
Okay, so we'll go back. I'm a third time guest, so I feel like I'm on Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's
You're
it.
like you're like the Steve Martin.
yeah, that's
Yes.
the 3 times, right?
And then
After 5 times, I get a
who's
jacket.
Who's the
Bro.
other ones?
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is one of them.
Alec Baldwin's in there, right?
Yep, he's definitely there. He lives
I
in
think
that
Justin
building.
Timberlake's in there now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Martin Short.
Yep.
What I was going to say is that pretty much after the first podcast, you were an honorary member of the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think you were our first guest ever.
You might be right.
What was I?
I don't know. You might be right. When we were at the bar,
Yeah. I think because we did 3
Yeah.
alone, I think, and then our 4th we did with you. It was-
Yeah, and then
First guest.
we did one in my house. Yep.
It was only because Jay was in stores.
was what?
Jay's bar was closed.
Yeah.
That's right. He
Yeah, we did 2.
He brought the poppers over that
Right.
were hot.
Yes, Jay. That's the only time Jay's been on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. We
He's
did.
busy.
We did one at the bar, then we did 2 at my house, and then and then this is.
I think we did 1 at your house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm saying I know what you're saying. So
Yeah,
1,
yeah,
2, 3.
Right.
I agree. And
Yeah.
you're welcome on anytime.
But I'll tell you what, the burnt poppers were delicious. Though.
They were good.
They were,
We
that was
gotta get
one,
Jay on again. We're
honestly-
gonna do another. Obviously, we're gonna
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
another barbecue podcast.
that was one of the funnest. Well, you know what I want to do? I want to do a tailgate podcast with the beer.
Let's
You
do
know,
it.
with the brew. And the Giants thing. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about best beers.
Maybe we
to
both
tailgate.
can.
We can actually hit that right now. What is? So we've been to games together, Dave, and I've made some bad decisions, and starting with some IPAs early and stuff like that. What do you drink when you go to a game? Like, what do you have a theory? Like, now we were all rubes the first time we went to a Yankee game in those fancy seats.
I always say that I'm going to drink very little.
Mostly
and I
light
drink a
beer.
lot.
Oh, I think you got to stick light beer.
Well, you're gonna
you know?
be
Right.
Harpoon
at
Rec
it
League.
all day. Any event you're gonna go to
Yeah.
is for a significant amount of time. Any event. So you got to say to yourself, you're gonna be drinking all day.
Corona.
I think you got to stick. Yeah, right.
Corona's a good one. Yeah,
Okay.
Well, I drink Harpoon Rec League.
I'd stick to lighter beers, obviously. You know, that's my preference on beers if I'm drinking anyway.
Modelo.
Really. Modelo?
Sure.
Or natural light.
Natural
works.
light, yeah.
I don't know why. When I'm trying not to get super drunk, I drink Mexican beers.
That used to be
That's weird.
You used to be 100%
You're
Bud
weird.
Light guy. Did you switch from Bud Light to Natural Light? Was that
Yes, because actually, this is a true story. It was Eric and Pete got me into Natural Light. I was always a Bud Light drinker. Then I realized Busch and Busch Light are essentially the same thing, but less expensive. Then one day, those guys showed up with like a 30-pack of Natural Light. We call them Natty Lights. I'm like, what do you got there? He goes, my dad actually, their father, not my father, did his research. And according to Consumer Reports, Natural Light was the best bang for buck beer you could get. So I, of course, I'm like, yeah, I'll try one. I'm good. I like and it is an Anheuser-Busch product. So I'm like, I'm game. I drank one. I said to myself, it's delicious. And it's even cheaper than Busch and Busch Light. And it's essentially the same thing. So I've been sticking with Natural Light for quite some time.
You got a bottle of liquor in your hand. Kevin's got a huge smile on his face, and he's pulling out more drinks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll hold off on the liquor.
We're just talking about Natural Light. I'm going to pull out some real weird shit.
We're an hour and 21 minutes.
That's actually not that long.
What is all over your forehead?
I don't know.
You got some schmutz.
Some schmutz.
Schmutz. I do want to try this, though. I mean, we don't have to drink it all, but...
Well, there's not much there. I don't even know how many ounces.
It's 88 proof.
200 milliliters.
36 locks. We got to get them on the podcast.
Yes. This is the one I think that's the old firehouse, right?
Yeah, on the other side. Go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
All right, so now we're looking towards, towards the end of the podcast. I just want you guys to be open-minded, okay, about this whole thing. So I think it's important in life to be open-minded and try new things and be willing to just accept what's different in the world, okay? So you guys have had some sours, I know, and I think you guys like them a little bit, right? Do you guys like them?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Some are better than others.
Right. So I think most of what you guys have had are Kettle Sours.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of that is basically they're going to add a souring agent or a bacteria, so like Lactobacillus, Brettanomyces to a barrel, something like that. And with like the Kettle Sours is what they do at the end once they have the desired sour, they bring up the temperature and they boil it off and they kill it so they don't infect their yeast like we were talking about a little while ago. So now Belgian sours are
Pool. Pond. Lake?
Pond?
Lake pool?
What?
You say kettle, and then there's the other one was like with a pool or something. Like a very thin...
Sorry, cool ships. Right. So cool ships is where you start using like the wild yeast in the air.
Yeah.
Okay? So certain areas of the world have more yeast, whatever. Belgium has a very specific yeast, and it yields great sours all over the country. Brussels especially has a distinct yeast that comes out, and it makes lambics. So lambics is a Flemish sour, which we're going to try right now. This is a... Let's see, which one we got over here? Okay, so this is a actual goose. Gouza.
Not a ghost.
Not a gose. A gose
gose.
is a kettle sour that's made with, the same exact technique where they actually add a lot of... And they're all wheat-based, by the way.
Okay.
So we're going off that wheat base that we were just talking about.
Are we still going to taste the banana? And
No, we're not. You're not going to taste anything. This is Belgium. So you're not going to taste that at all. There's no hops in this at all. So this is just... You're going to taste a very funky sour. Now, this is actually a blend.
It tastes like a baguette.
Yes, this is very funky.
Ooh. Wow.
Yes. So it's not just a lambic. It's actually a blend of 1, 2, and 3-year-old lambics that is re-fermented. Very different, light. This style is at least.
It's definitely sour.
Definitely sour, yep.
Man, there's something about this. This almost tastes like one of those shots or something you get from like the girls at the bar that comes in like a...
Yes, right, like the Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah.
Right.
The test.
But it's actually... I'm not saying it tastes... There's something about it that just reminds me of like a club. I think it's the fruitiness of the It's good though. It's not bad.
Yeah, there's no fruit in that. That's just natural sourness of it. So there's no fruit added to it.
There is almost like the aftertaste. It does still kind of taste like a banana-ish to me.
It's got some fruit flavor like to it. It definitely does.
Like in the beginning, it's like kind of berryish, and then it ends with a
but it's literally
Like a
bacteria.
candy.
Bacteria.
It's almost like
you know,
vinegar.
vinegar.
it's yeast eating bacteria. That's what gives it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of flavor to it.
It's repurposed mold.
Do you like it or do you not like it? What are your thoughts?
As sours go, I guess it's not really a sour, but I
Well,
like it.
That's actually sour in its truest form.
I like it better than
It's very
most sours
sour.
I've
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's good.
it's not a generic sour where it's like forced upon you. You know what I mean? This is actually a real sour. Okay. All right. So now.
Yes, it's pretty good.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you like
It
it.
has that type of
See, I really like those.
exactly like a lemon, where it will make your mouth water.
Yeah, in the beginning,
It'll
it's
make
it's
your-
like a
it'll
fruity,
make your,
lemony.
Yes, you get that little
That
cloying.
little little
Yes.
tingle in the back
Yep.
of your
I get that with spicy food.
yeah.
Yeah, real
I'll
spicy.
get
I
it like I said,
super
with like a
spicy.
lemon.
Okay, now I have another one which you should like better. Now this is a Creek. This is Lindemans. You guys
like
have
the last
probably
one just
had
fine.
Lindemans Framboise, which is the raspberry.
I have had that.
So
I've definitely had the raspberry
yes,
one.
the
We had it
raspberry.
at
And
the
that
Bayou.
was more popular,
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 years ago.
It
is
was
one
called the
that- yeah, came up-
Francois, right?
Framboise, yeah.
Framboise,
Yep.
that was it.
Framboise. And,
Framboise.
raspberries and cherries were actually more, they were
Smell cherry.
they were precursors to hops in the brewing process as, flavoring. You had gruits and, berries and stuff like that.
Gruit isn't it like a mixture of like
Spices
and
yes,
berries
right,
and fruits?
berries, right.
Fruits.
So,
That is
exactly.
a shock
Oh.
tart.
I did learn that.
Somebody read that in the book.
I did learn that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
So now the thing that you get from this whole thing, this is made with cherry juice. They used to use Morello cherries, I believe, early on in the process with this. When they could get them, then they would go to other cherries or cherry juice, whatever. Now the thing with here is
He was in Rage Against the Fruit.
Yes, absolutely. Tom Morello, exactly.
Sorry, I'm very good at derailing.
Oh God, so many jokes. I'm just gonna stop. The So anyway, one thing you will notice.
Boobs.
You don't get overly sweetness here because there's a lot of attenuation. That means like the sugars in it are used for alcohol.
Yep.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So what you get is a very tart cherry flavor out of
So
this.
you're saying that like that they use the cherries instead of yeast,
No, instead of hops.
instead of hop? Oh, okay,
Right.
for flavor. Okay, gotcha. All right.
By the way, the Shooter's on. It's a movie with Mark Wahlberg,
Oh, love it.
and it's Mara, one of the
Yes.
one of the daughters, the Giants' daughters.
That's
there.
right.
One of the whose daughters?
For the Giants.
Oh, really?
And also
Yeah, Kate
their
Mara.
uncle, or not their uncle, right? Is they're the Rooneys too. They're also
Yeah, they're related to the Roonies, Maras.
Oh, that's
right?
true,
Yeah.
through marriage.
Yeah.
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 I think.
Well, no, they're blood related
Right.
because of
Now she's she's a 10.
I,
I'm a big
you're right.
fan
I
of
do
Kate
like
Mara.
this better. This is not very sour.
Yes, it's again the cherry mellows it out.
Yeah.
Again, it mellows it out. It doesn't get the sweetness. It's you would think it'd be a lot sweeter than it was, and so is the raspberry. If you go back and try and there's also a peach one too. But if you
Never
try
had
any of
that.
those, it's a very nice blend of the lambic style and a fruit. It's why it goes so well. That's why you normally see those.
that is a
paired
mix
together.
between a Luden's and a shock tart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a
That
good
is
good
very
way.
good. Yeah,
I wouldn't
no,
say,
great way.
Because those are two things that people might not like, but it's actually a very good. Yeah.
Who doesn't like?
This is an excellent thing to go with like vanilla Hershey's ice cream.
I kind of want more.
Shameless plug.
Wow.
Or
Not related to Hershey's
I'm gonna be honest
chocolate.
with you, like it's a great, phenomenal, great dessert, and I've seen this paired either the Creek or Framboise with a lot of beer dinners that I've been a part of or been to.
Like a float.
Yeah, a float or just on the side. You know what I mean? A nice little 4-ounce pour with some ice cream and
You could probably
chocolate sauce, something
reduce
like that.
this down into a nice little sauce itself.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my God, they do that. Absolutely, they do make that into a raspberry puree and or cherry puree.
I'd say
right?
it's more cherry than raspberry.
Well, it is cherry.
Well, this is cherry, right? But the raspberry is the more
all right.
popular. Right?
I like
The
this one.
Framboise,
I don't like
yeah.
raspberry.
You know,
raspberries.
although I like it, and I will say this though, not to say anything bad, has a slightly musty aftertaste.
because it's a sour. It's a
And is that what it is? Okay.
It's a true
All right, that's what it
wild
is.
yeast sour.
Okay.
There's no
That explains it.
right. This is all from the air. This is all yeast that if you just leave it out,
There's natural
and there is
yeast
a
in
natural
there.
yeast in that Belgian air that will ferment anything in a very quick time period. And it takes all the bacteria. Do you guys ever see that Brewdogs? You ever see that with the guys from Brewdog, the two Scottish guys?
Nope.
All right, so there's a TV show, great show.
I've heard of it.
It might have been on Spike TV or one of those networks.
Where is that network?
So I think it's gone. I don't even know.
I haven't seen it.
So they
It got canceled.
did it. So
All
they
the good shows do.
They got it. They did one with Jim Cook from Sam Adams.
Sam Adams, yep.
And they made a beer with Sam Adams, and they made a Scotch ale. And Scotch ale doesn't normally do a lot of hops in it. You know what I mean? Something like that. So they made a sour to kind of balance out the malt instead of the hops balancing it out. They made a sour malt, and what they did is they jumped into the malt themselves. So the bacteria from their bodies was actually, part of the beer. Okay, so they said we're gonna be part of this beer. It sounds gross, right? But
You beat me to it. I'm like, that's gross.
so the cool ship type
Just
thing.
make sure you tell me what kind of beer that was, so I don't drink it.
They didn't publicly make it, but what they did is a wild yeast in the air soured that little malt batch. They mixed it in with the beer, with the brew. They boiled it, killed off all the bacteria, so it's safe. But you got a little bit of a sour that balanced it out. So some of the Scotch ale, like stuff like that Dirty Bastard,
Yeah.
I think it's the same type of concept.
Is that also Founders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Which I love that. It's Scotch ale because it's not hoppy. You know what I mean? So you have to have something to balance it out, and it could be a sour. You know what I mean? Like a little sour batch that goes into that type thing. So there's so much that goes into beer, and it's a lot of fun. And again, keep an open mind with everything in life, and just
Don't take my yawning as boredom. I didn't sleep last night,
beer's awesome,
and we're drinking,
and it's fun. And, I appreciate you guys having me on, as always. I hope you guys all check out the Big Blue State of Mind podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, let's for people who don't know what it is, where can they hear you?
We're on all major platforms. We're working on Apple. We're having a little problem with that, so I have to talk to you about how to get on that because we have one little issue there.
They just changed a lot of stuff with Apple, so I'm grandfathered in. I remember when I started, there was a very long process to be cleared for them for you in review, and you maybe had to have like 4 or 5 episodes in before they would release your podcast. But I can help you with that. I can definitely take a look.
Yeah, so we're on Spreaker, we're on Spotify, we're on all the major ones. We are on YouTube. We have some YouTube episodes too. All right. John went above and beyond and got like $1,000 camera, and I was like, "Why'd you spend so much money?" He's like, "Dude, I don't have a kid."
So you're doing video.
We're doing video. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was necessary, but we're getting a lot of likes and hits from it, so it's a little bit fun. And what he does with the editing is, when we were talking about the draft, for instance, he threw a bunch of graphics he made about the draft picks that we were talking about
up on their wall.
Up on the wall while we were talking about them, stuff like that. So we gave like some viewers a little bit of insight and stuff like that. You get to see my man cave.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
it's legit.
Yeah, we it's a little unfinished basement that we turned into a little studio, and it's a lot of fun. So we're having fun, and I should probably keep this under wraps a little bit, but I think I'm going to be starting a second podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're going to call it KevCast.
Okay.
It's going to be exclusive for Kevs or people that know Kevs. So we're going to just keep it to that exclusive category of people, and I might invite my wife to be on the show and have her talk about what it's like to be married to like a top percent. 1%, good-looking Kev and the best-looking Kev in the world. So, but no, honestly, I'm.
You sure you want that?
Yeah. Well, I can edit it whatever I want, man.
Yeah, you better have magic editing.
Right. All I have to do is get her to say certain words, and I can put them in the right order. And
but
no, we want. Well, I want to expand on a little bit. I really caught the bug with this a little bit. I want to expand it to be able to talk about some other stuff. So we're coming up with some ideas on how to just. Again, we're not in this to make money or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we've got the equipment, and thank you for that recommendation because it works great. But we just want to be able to talk about some other stuff and have some fun and have some debates and just go with it, So You guys got the beer thing cornered. Where we cheers to a beer and say we give a shout out to you guys all the time. So
I'm not sure we have anything cornered.
No. Well, here's the deal too. Like, we are. I don't want. I know the way that we've kind of marketed ourselves and kind of branded ourselves that it's a beer podcast. But one thing I reiterate all the time, it's what's brewing in the 518. And what I mean by brewing, I mean like what's going on. Obviously, our heart and soul is in beer, so we can still have conversations about sports. We can have conversations. We can go to a coffee shop and talk about
I don't drink coffee.
Well, we could still do it. We can go to a cigar shop. We can drink some beer. Whatever
I don't
we
smoke
do.
cigarettes.
all right,
or
so
cigars.
so let's go to the sports thing real quick. I want to see. Give me your
Sure.
Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks because that's going to be our next podcast topic.
Eli Manning.
No, honestly,
Seriously,
like of all quarterbacks, not Giants. I'm talking about
All right, for all-time quarterbacks.
all-time quarterbacks.
Obviously, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Tom Brady.
You put Brady 3, okay?
Yeah. Well, there was supposed to be an order
Yeah, in order, right? I want
Well,
order.
there is no order.
No, I want order. 1, 2, 3, 4.
of my
No,
four
it's
top.
not
favorite
possible. It's too
yeah.
quick.
And you know what? It's early. It's really, really early. But
Teddy Bridgewater.
I was gonna say Danny Jones.
Too soon?
Who's the Browns quarterback?
Baker Mayfield.
That's
Yeah.
him. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who. Yeah, that's it.
Well, he has great commercials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
They better win some ball games before they start.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is.
Mahomes,
just watching him do what he does is.
You know, it's so funny when you heard the talk about, here we go. We got the greatest of all time versus the next greatest. Mahomes going for 2. Is it going to be 2? Will he get to 9? They're talking about him. It's like, dude, relax. And they're like, oh, they just killed his chances of being the greatest. Dude, the kid's a young quarterback. He's already won a Super Bowl. He just went against a freaking juggernaut of a team.
Dan Marino's never won,
Yeah, exactly.
and he's one of the best.
And he threw ridiculous stats. He didn't have a long career because of injuries, everything like that. When you look at it, his stats were through the roof.
Yeah.
But I don't put him in my Mount Rushmore.
Then again, we also look at like Montana. What's one Montana known for fourth quarter comebacks?
Winning.
Who actually has a season with more fourth quarter comebacks than Montana? Eli Manning.
Well, I think that's an overrated stat too.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, you know what?
That's what makes him
Okay.
like they call him ice water veins or whatever.
All right, who's the most overrated quarterback of all time?
Most overrated.
I'll answer for you. Joe Namath. Okay. Yeah. His stats are terrible. He threw more interceptions and touchdowns. The whole deal. Okay. Every Jets fan's going to.
We never saw that. That's how he's kind of a time.
I never
guy.
watched his
Okay.
games.
But okay, let's say in our generation since 1980. Okay, because we're all,
Brett Favre maybe up there.
But then again, even
I
though he's
can't
thrown a
say.
lot of
See,
interceptions,
I
I don't put him as a top 5 quarterback.
What I'm saying, no,
Right.
I'd say he's up there as kind of being overrated. And I'm like, don't get me wrong.
he was a gunslinger.
I loved Brett Favre.
But
I
he's
loved
not put
watching
up
him.
there. What guy that's considered, to me, the guy that's considered one of the greatest, and I've even heard mentioned as the greatest of all time that doesn't have the stats or anything to back it up is John Elway.
You know what? I hate to say, but he had a hell of an arm.
He had a hell of an arm, but
I mean, he won 2. Did he win 2 Super Bowls?
at the end of his career,
Yeah, very
because
end.
of Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
Okay, and I listen. I'm
You
a
think
guy,
he's overrated?
I do.
He didn't have good stats.
Not comparative to
No.
he's not
you also have
all
to look at
time.
the situation.
Right.
Like Tom Brady, one of the
Neither
best
does,
quarterbacks.
but neither does Joe Montana have real big stats either.
No, and I think Joe without the rings isn't a top 3 quarterback. I think with the rings he's a top 3 quarterback.
I can say
I think
agree.
I think he's number 3. I put Manning, I put Peyton above him, and I put Brady number 1. And I don't measure rings that heavily.
No.
as but I don't think anybody can contest Brady at this point. You want to? You're a Giants fan.
No,
I'm a
even
Giants fan,
outside-
but listen, I'm probably the most honest Giants fan. I don't think Eli's a Hall of Famer, and
Look
that's going
wherever
to
he
piss off a
goes,
lot of
there's
my
a-
listeners
there's-
when we go to that
I don't
point.
think he is
Yeah.
either.
Wherever
I don't think Roethlisberger is either. So
No, well, it probably isn't.
wherever Brady goes, he
could have been.
He's been giving.
he could have been
Easily.
Right.
He's been given a pretty good. I mean, give me one team of his that he's carried the weight on 100%.
Brady.
Yeah,
What do you mean? One team where he's carried the weight?
yeah. What? Like, give me a year where the team really wasn't that good.
Well, I mean, listen, he's always
And
had
he's
good
still-
defenses. he scored points. And the first couple of years was defense, okay? And he just managed the team. He got it done when he needed to.
He didn't lose.
But listen, then you gave him a great receiver, and he broke every record in the book.
Yep.
Okay? And he's been...
That's my point.
Right. No, and he's been phenomenal.
Now look at what Peyton Manning's done with some shittier teams.
Well, Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison
He did
and Reggie Wayne
for like 3
his
quarters
whole
of the
career.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did that, and he didn't have a great defense. So you can't
That's-
measure it 100% on rings. But
I am not
right, but
yeah.
then you go head to head.
Yeah.
You go, complete stats. I mean, Brady's played longer. Brady's, taking care of himself. I mean, you can't
He
can't
hasn't
argue
gotten beaten
Brady.
up as bad as
Right.
Peyton.
Right. You
Better
can't-
offensive line.
Right. I mean, you can't.
One of the things that your father-in-law
can't-
said the other day
Yeah.
is that the last 5 years of Eli's career were wasted because they couldn't replace that offensive line. And
100%.
he's 100% right.
100% right. Right. And that their biggest mistake was that Eric Flowers.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you don't ever draft a project. Don't get me going on the Giants. I'm not going to get mad in this podcast.
No,
It's supposed to be a fun
no,
podcast.
it is.
I don't get going on the fact they didn't draft any fucking goddamn linemen in the draft.
Yeah.
All right? So,
No, I was right with you. Yeah, you text me like the next day or that day. I
Yeah,
forget.
I
I was like,
was-
I agree. I was like, they're trading picks away when
Yeah.
we have needs.
I mean, listen, I like what they did. I like the picks they got. I like.
Yeah, they eventually.
You see cups or glasses or something.
Yeah. Oh, shot glasses.
Yes.
Yeah,
See, we're digressing here.
I do like what they did overall. I mean, except for the linemen, I don't like what they did not getting a lineman. They're saying they didn't like the guys, and and here's the thing: Gettleman said that
You gotta have some kind of
guess his quote was, "I guess we feel better about our linemen than you guys do." So you know what that says to me? Okay, now it's on you.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't come through for what you think, then your ass is fired.
Yeah.
Because everybody he's on the block. I love
He is
the
on the
depth
block.
we have on it everywhere else. We have way too many defensive backs, I think.
And I don't think it should be up to Judge to save his job either, because
No, it's not.
I actually
No.
I was not a fan of the hiring of Judge.
Yeah,
And
I like
especially
Judge.
the first half of the season.
I like Judge.
Even before, I was like, no way. But then,
Yeah.
like really to see what he was able to do with that
Yeah.
team in the second half of the season,
Right.
With the players that he had, I was really impressed, and I'm also really impressed with our old quarterback there who went to Dallas. I'm horrible with names.
Earl quarterback.
And he was a coach. He's a coach. Oh my God, people are screaming right now. Dallas Cowboys.
Huh?
Our offensive coordinator.
Garrett?
Jason Garrett. Holy crap, I can't believe I was drawing a blank on that.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
You don't remember he was our quarterback?
No. Oh, yeah. Well, Jason Garrett was our quarterback?
He was a third string quarterback for us.
Jason Garrett was not our quarterback. When was he our quarterback?
He was on the Giants as a quarterback from Kerry to
Kerry Collins?
Yeah, Kerry Collins to. He probably left the same year that we got. Man, why are you asking me names? I'm the worst with names. Who's our Kurt Warner. He may have left the same year that
So
we got
like
Kurt
2000,
Warner.
around then?
Yeah, so he was probably on our team from, I'd say 2000 to 2003
Okay.
or 2004.
Yeah, I mean, that could be. I mean,
He was a horrible quarterback. Horrible quarterback. I guarantee it.
Well, I mean, he was our third string, so he didn't play at all.
He did.
Listen, Jason Garrett was actually a really good backup to Troy Aikman, if you remember, because all he used to do, and he was smart about it, he threw the ball up to Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper used to outjump every single guy in coverage.
Yeah.
Because everybody was double teaming Michael Irvin.
So he had his
and,
Plaxico burst.
Right, exactly, right.
Did you look it up?
No, I didn't. I have no service here, so hold on. We're out.
It's not like we're out in the sticks here.
Yeah, we're out in the sticks. This is like.
I got Spectrum cell phone service, and I got full bars.
Yeah, sometimes the service sucks here. I got to put you on the
This is like Bert Kreischer's podcast.
I gotta
when he
put
goes
you on
out
the
into
Wi-Fi.
the woods, the cabin. This is nice.
Like I said, I got to put you on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, you're right. One year, 2000.
No, 2000 to 2003.
No, well, it says 2000.
2000 to 2003.
Okay, well,
He played
I'm
3
looking
years.
at Stats. He was on the roster, but he didn't play. Game starts. Yeah.
Oh, he never started a game. He played in. He would come in like the fourth quarter, or
Right.
we'd use him, and obviously in the preseason, and he was horrible. When I found out when he went to Dallas, I was like, "Oh, keep him."
Listen, I don't think he's a bad coordinator, and we're going to see what
it's
happens.
great.
Right? Well, I wouldn't say great because when I was with Dallas, I remember watching one Dallas versus Giants game, and he used Dak to perfection. He was running read options. He had trick plays going. The Giants didn't know which way they were going. I'm like, wow, this is great play calling. Holy crap, the Giants are on
How
the
much
heels the whole
he
time.
was him as a head coach?
This is what it was when he was at a head coach. So
Yeah.
whoever was
Yeah, exactly.
he was calling the plays back then, whatever it was. So we're like, wow, this team looks really good. You know, that's the kind of Jason Garrett I want.
Yeah.
That's what you have. Now we've got a guy, Daniel Jones, that can run like a deer, but he's like an alligator when you can't run left or right. Okay, like he trips over his own feet.
And he still gets a
at
little
the
frazzled.
10-yard
He gets
line,
frazzled in the
okay?
pocket too.
That run is makes him the biggest laughing stock in the world.
Yeah.
He's got, he backs up. He is fast running north to south, but he doesn't run left to right, and he doesn't scramble, okay? Now, you got Russell Wilson, who got sacked more than any quarterback in the last couple of years, right? That guy put up ridiculous numbers anyway. So I don't want to hear the excuses that you're getting pressured, that you can't make plays, when you're that supposedly athletic that
Yeah.
he is, because he's not. He's north-south runner, everything like that. He's not
He's not a scrambler.
right. He's not a scrambler. He's not elusive. So far he's not a playmaker. But it's again, he's getting the pressure, the whole thing. You can't put that on him. It just actually gives kudos to Russell Wilson on how ridiculously athletic he is, that he can throw 40 touchdowns and get sacked that many
backwards,
times.
yeah.
It's stupid. You know what I mean? The athleticism. So we're gonna see what happens.
Same with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and Mahomes is another freak of nature. So. I'm not big on mobile quarterbacks.
But then again, so was remember years ago when I can't remember names, but quarterback for the Raiders, the guy was like throwing like 60, 70 yards down the field from his knees.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh God, whatever happened? He's from LSU. What's his name?
Someone.
He was awful. Guy couldn't read a playbook.
No. So I mean, it's more than just athletic ability. And,
Ryan Leaf is another prime example.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf and Peyton.
Is he still alive? What do you think of this whiskey?
Oh,
I haven't even tasted it yet.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no.
I've been
I was
drinking
waiting for you guys.
I've been drinking it.
It says it's Gateway American Whiskey by Schenectady Distilling Company. 36 locks. I'm assuming that has to do with the Erie Canal.
This flavor profile is all over the place.
It's aged at least 6 months in used American oak barrels, and it's 88 proof.
It tastes a lot like an Irish whiskey to me.
We'll find out.
It's
It smelled a little
It's
bit
very
like a
earthy.
Scotch when I opened it up.
It's very smooth at first.
I'm not a whiskey connoisseur by any means.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a bourbon, or doesn't have any bourbon flavor to it. It tastes to me like a Irish whiskey.
It's more like a rye.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. It's somewhat like an Irish whiskey, but I would say
See, I'm not a
earthy
rye
was
drinker.
earthy was a good term.
Yeah,
And
it's very earthy. It's
definitely American style too.
Yeah.
Canadian whiskey doesn't taste like that.
No.
it's actually at first it's real smooth, but then it ends a little harsh for me.
A lot of it, I think, the earthiness is the barrel.
Yeah.
They're using, it says American oak barrels, and I don't know if they char them. I mean, they must have had to char it a little bit
Because it's got a little bit of color.
because it's got some color. I mean, it's not a dark color, but
It's not.
No, I think they all are.
I think they have to be charred a little
Yeah.
bit, or else it
Yeah.
wouldn't color.
But it's definitely it's an interesting earthy. Like again, it's almost like a dirty.
Yeah, it's smooth, but you're right. It's very earthy. I mean,
Well, and 6 months isn't a long time. Normally, you're
No,
looking
right.
at. I think
Years.
it's 2. Was it 2 years?
2 years, I believe.
Right. So 6 months isn't a very long time.
So you haven't gotten the full aging
Right.
mellowness that you
or
get.
color, and you can see right through that.
Yeah, it's fairly light. But I mean,
It's not terrible.
other choices were bourbon, and I forget what the other one was. And I'm not a really big bourbon guy, so
I like
I was
bourbon.
over at the.
So
rye.
was their bourbon aged longer?
I don't know. I didn't actually
or-
read because I'm not a bourbon
Well, I mean-
person. So I skipped right over it.
I mean, I know bourbon, real bourbon has to be brewed in Bourbon County, Kentucky.
Yes.
But I know there's the other stipulations on,
It's ingredients
right
Is it
ingredients
bourbon
very
flavored?
important. Are very
and
important.
type of wood or whatever, right?
It has to be a certain ratio of ingredients to be considered bourbon.
Now, I know wine is
I'm
very
not
particular.
I'm not entirely certain that the bourbon thing is true about being in Kentucky. I think there's such thing as Tennessee bourbon. Not Jack Daniels is not one of them, but It's not like it. I don't think it's like champagne, where champagne has to be made in France. I want to say bourbon can be made outside of Bourbon County, Kentucky, and it can be called bourbon, but it has to maintain a certain ratio of ingredients to be considered a bourbon. Like, also Jack Daniel's, like I said, it's not. It's a mash, and I believe it's also filtered. But Jack Daniel's is, which real bourbon is not. I think those. I mean, I'm almost positive that's the deal. But I'm
out of my realm with it.
I'm
comes
pretty
to,
sure
right.
bourbon can be made outside of Kentucky. It just has to be a certain recipe. But you're right. I think the reason it's very earthy. This is because it hasn't aged. I think that's what you probably get in a. I don't know what that would be. Premature. Probably
Young.
It's a little premature.
Young.
And you know what? I give these guys credit. They're right in Glenville, and I actually bought it at the farmers market in front of City Hall.
Oh, nice.
Which, by the way, it's worth going over there. There's a lot of good local stuff there between vegetables, honey. The guys from
They have a lot of good stuff. Peppers.
Great Flats.
Peppers. The Big Flats guys are the Great Flats.
If you want good
Big
peppers,
Flats. Big Flats?
Big Flats is out in Western New York, about Horseheads.
I have to say something completely stupid every podcast.
Great Flats and like.
Oh, your father makes cigars. What's his name?
Big Papa. What was that? It was something like
Papa
Doc or something.
Yeah.
hey, and while you're down there, stop down at 20 South Tavern.
Right, exactly, perfect.
So we got the best chicken thumbs
But
in town.
I got it. Chicken. What is it? Chicken legs. I do like that. I got to give them a lot of credit. There's a lot of good stuff over there, in terms of local and tasty stuff.
Hey, at least I didn't say Jabel Pebbles.
Jabel peppers.
It's our best player.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna have to try the bourbon just for the hell of it. Yes, wow.
I'm afraid to take more sips.
Yeah, it was a small bottle, 200 milliliters. It's like 2 shots each. All right, I'm going to say that
It's not terrible.
not terrible.
But, I
That's
mean,
not a huge endorsement for the folks at 30.
Hold on, listen. I'm not a booze drinker either. How many shots have I done with you at 20 North? Not many.
8,000.
No, not true. I'm
Yep.
the guy that
Oh,
said
come
I'm
on,
one of
you
the guys
don't
that's
deny
exempt
it
from
now.
shots. But
How many shots have we done?
Don't deny
Yeah.
it. It's 8,000.
Bazillions.
Again, we were talking about Woodford Reserve that I had the other day. I was like, wow, that is phenomenal. This is not obviously Woodford Reserve, and for just throw this in a cup and say, taste this. Yeah, it's not. It's I just came from drinking something really good. My last bourbon experience, so it's not terrible. I mean, I can palatable. I'm not
But it's
spitting
no
it out.
Woodford
but,
Reserve.
Right, exactly.
Awesome.
My last bourbon experience, whiskey, is Ironweed, distilled in Albany.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then before that, I was drinking bourbon. I was drinking Bullet bourbon. That was
Bullet
my last
bourbon.
bottle. Yep.
How do you spell that?
Bulleit.
Yeah, it is. It's an
That's right. Because I just had some at our last podcast.
Bulliet.
I had some. Yeah.
Bulliet.
Bullet.
Yeah, I had
Bulleit.
I had a little bit of that with on the
Booyaka.
rocks for our last podcast. It was.
Nice.
Oof, yeah.
I like it.
See, I think that's one of my favorite things to do. I was like, the guys, we're not gonna steal the thunder of you guys.
No.
Being a brew podcast, but we're gonna start off. Hey, what are you drinking? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Eric is, they're all beer lovers too. So
We've actually kinda gotten-
Maybe that's a good name for a podcast.
What's that?
Hey, what are you drinking?
Hey, what you drinking?
Hey, what are you drinking?
But
Hey, what are you drinking? Whiskey.
I think it's probably better than, hey, what's in your mouth?
Too many bad
It's in
answers.
your mouth.
Too many bad answers there.
But we've kind of gotten not away. We still talk a lot about the beer, but we've definitely focused a lot more on these side conversations and stuff like that. So.
I think you guys are killing it with that hard
Awesome.
part, and that's the most fun I think that you have with
yeah.
these podcasts. And right, you just come up with a topic and you just shoot the shit about it. I mean, when you
and
can
it's
talk
great.
about Star Wars and and all these little different topics and go off in different directions with it.
I used to feel bad because, every once in a while, Dave and I will get off on a side tangent, and our guests will sit here and look at us.
Yeah.
And it almost, I'll sit there and be like, I feel like I'm being rude. I don't know if you feel the same way or whatever.
Nope.
But then people have come out and said, when you guys, and then some of the guests have sat there and said, watching you guys go back and forth in person is nuts.
Oh,
So it blows my
absolutely.
mind.
And that's what, we're just getting used to ourselves.
Yeah.
And,
you got a long way to
And
go.
here's the thing, and I felt today I didn't bring any notes. I didn't bring anything on the whatever. I came with just the knowledge in my head on the beers, and I just want to talk to you guys. I miss you guys. You know,
for sure.
Because this was fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But the first 2 times I came, I was nervous. You know what I mean? It's like,
Are you really?
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to be on a podcast. When I talk about beer, I was like, I had notes. I'm like, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about. I was like, come on, it didn't flow as natural. I was like nervous a little bit, you know. And I think the first 2 podcasts that we did, or at least the first one, was like we were all really nervous. It's like, how is it going to go? I was like, well, I'll host and I'll just dish it off to you guys. And, you know, when you're dealing with 3 different people and you're talking about like news subjects like sports, like it almost came off like a newscast.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you think about this? Blah, blah. We're trying to get it more natural.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're having just some fun with it. So we're coming into our own as we get into like I love the debates. So once they drafted and we had a recap of the draft, we started going at it a little bit. I'm like, you're fucking wrong. Like they should have drafted linemen. You know what I mean? Like, are you happy with this line? You know what I mean? Like, I got a little heat and stuff like that. I'm like, that's actually good. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have to be scripted. You know what I mean? Like,
no, exactly.
You just wanted to talk about whatever. So our thing now is going to be like, hey, I want to talk about a couple things. I'll dish it off to you. You talk about a couple things. We'll go back and forth, and let's just have fun with it. You know.
See, well, I think one of the things that like it still surprises me when we go and talk to people. I don't ever remember. Obviously, I've done radio, so I don't really get nervous with this, and I don't think you were ever nervous.
Nope.
But it's weird to see that people do actually get nervous. Omar was obviously a little nervous. I think nothing not against Omar, but you know, so many people don't understand what's going on. And they feel like they got to know, like, what are we going to talk about? What's everything?
Right.
Let's discuss this first. So I try my best to give the illusion that we have a very set game plan, then not have one at all. So to me, because I don't want one.
Surprise.
I just want to come out and I want to have a good conversation.
Right.
I don't want to. All right. First, we're going to talk about this, and you talk about that, and you mention this. No, we're going to go out. We're going to talk. We're going to have a good time.
Exactly,
It's just like you would at the bar.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Right. No, it's good stuff. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. So
What do
thank
you
you
say
guys.
we wrap this up?
Yeah, we're almost 2 hours.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you like to end this, Dave?
I think we can just
turn it off?
Just say goodbye. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.